Konami, a game company of legend. Their games were like treasures that kids sought after. Ruby red shooters, emerald adorned beat-em-ups, diamond lace platformers, and they all came sweeping into the NES library like an armada. And of course, we talked about such great classics like Contra, Castlevania. You had so many other gems like Bucky O'Hare and Life Force. And you had Metal Gear and Bio Billy, Castlevania 2, Top Gun. And then you have Goonies 1 and 2. So, The Goonies is one of those quintessential 80s movies about a group of kids who go on an adventure to seek out a hidden pirate treasure in hopes to use the fortune to save their homes from becoming a golf resort, while at the same time being chased by a family of escaped prisoners, the Fratellis. It may be a little dated, but it sure does have that fun-loving spirit and nostalgic vibe that's expected of the Spielberg brand. And of course, with something so cherished, it is a rule that it must be tarnished in the form of video games. Now, there were various versions on the numerous home computers at the time, such as the Commodore 64, but the versions I'm talking about are the ones that were made for the Nintendo systems. Now, first up is the original Goonies, which was both on the Famicom and Famicom Disk System. Let's start this up and give it a go. Well, here it is. That beloved childhood adventure that you all knew has been turned into a repetitive scavenger hunt where you go around kicking the shit out of giant mice to get bombs to blow open skull doors to collect keys.
They blew up the walls all around him.
Once you have all 3 keys, you can unlock the next level. But that's not all. In each level, one of your friends has been kidnapped and you gotta find them. You play as the character Mikey, which is not very apparent, and all he does is kick, but you can also find a slingshot. It seems they missed a lot of potential here. Why not play as Data? That was the character who had all the cool gadgets. That would have been better than just a cliched slingshot. The enemies are no more inspired. Ghosts, skeletons, bats. Come on, why does every game have to have bats? Oh wait, the bats were in the movie. Okay then. And it also has the criminals who chase you around. I assume they're the Fratellis? So it is following the movie somewhat, I guess, but the bats were probably just a coincidence. One thing I do have to commend is they actually use the Cyndi Lauper song from the movie, The Goonies Are Good Enough. And it actually sounds pretty rad as a chiptune. Anyway, there's not much else about this game. You just kill the mice, find the keys, unlock the gates, find the keys, you know? It's starting to feel like I'm playing the same levels over and over again. In fact, I think I am playing the same levels again. What's happening? Did it send me back to the beginning? That's right. It's the same 5 stages looping endlessly. What's worse than playing a shitty game? Playing a shitty game that never ends. I'm stuck, trapped, forever.
Forever? Forever? Ever? Trapped. Wow.
Actually, what happens here is if you forget to rescue any of the kids, the game will allow you to keep on playing up to stage 5, but after that, it sends you back to the beginning. What kind of fucking shit is that? It shouldn't let you pass any of the levels. It should say, go back and get the kid, asshole. No, instead it wants you to keep on playing just to waste your fucking time. On the screen, it does tell you how many kids you've saved, but not which stages they're from. So if I'm on stage 4 and it's showing I saved 3 kids, that could mean I missed the kid on stage 1 or 2 or whatever. I don't know. That was ancient history ago. I've been running around for so long looking for keys. So after you've completed stage 5 with 5 kids saved, it lets you go to the 6th and final stage, the ship. It's very short. All you do is hop around fighting mice and flying fish. I would make the statement that none of this shit ever happens in the movie, but that isn't the fucking problem anymore. The game has no bosses. None whatsoever. You find the girl, and the game ends. All you get is a short cutscene of the Goonies watching the pirate ship, like the movie, and then it says the end. Congratulations. Oh, and you want to know what happens after that? Sends you back to level 1, in case you want to play again. Well, that was the version of the Goonies that we did not get here in the United States. It was in the arcades, but not on the home consoles. So they spared us that one. Because you know why? We deserved something much shittier. The Goonies 2 was one of those movie sequel video games before there was ever a sequel, much like Top Gun: The Second Mission. Well, of course, Top Gun did eventually get a sequel, but so far, The Goonies has not. And if it does, hope it's nothing like this. The main villain from the first movie, Mama Fratelli, is back for revenge, and this time she's kidnapped Annie. Well, her name was Andy, but I'll assume it's a new character because this is Goonies 2. The gameplay is similar to the first Goonies and even has the same song. You're just going around fighting insects and shit, but with a yo-yo this time. What was with video games using yo-yos as weapons? Star Tropics, Earthbound, Yo-Noid? Where did that come from? Has anyone ever hit someone with a yo-yo flawlessly to have the yo-yo wind itself back to their hand? That would be amazing! That didn't happen in the movie. But remember, this is Goonies 2. You still have bombs, but now you can also get Molotov cocktails. That's just great. A 14-year-old kid's running around throwing Molotov cocktails. Good family fun. But this ain't like the movie, because this is Goonies 2. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tell you straight out, as a side-scroller, this is a totally fine game. If you were a kid in the late 80s and rented it from the video store, as I once had, you wouldn't find anything wrong. After you finish your homework, you'd kill some time by yo-yoing the fuck out of some spiders for a couple hours and then call it a day. But if you're trying to actually get anywhere, that's a whole other story.
Oh shit, what?
Let me tell you what I mean. You see these doors? Bet you go in there, right? I say, no. Leave well enough alone. If you want any hope in getting some enjoyability out of this game, just forget about the doors. Sure, that means you won't get very far, but the trauma is not worth it. Don't go in the doors. It's like The Shining with the forbidden hotel room. The kid Danny is warned not to go in there, but he does anyway, because otherwise you wouldn't have much of a movie, and here, I guess you wouldn't have much of a nerd episode. Because on the other side of these doors, that's where they hid the shitty game. I wish I didn't have to do this, but it is my duty. So I'm gonna go in there and show you the inner workings of the bullshit fuck factory. You unlock this door with the key of humiliation. Beyond it is an entirely different game. A game of shit. A game of awful sights. A game of torture to the mind. You're diving into the ass of the most toxic, filthy substance of idiotic ideas you've just crossed over into the diarrhea dimension. Now all of a sudden, it looks like we're playing the cabin stages in Friday the 13th. But if Friday the 13th were shitty. And I know, I already said Friday the 13th was shitty, but not anymore. These rooms were designed without any common sense, programmed with no laws of physics. I don't know how to explain it because I can't even fully understand it myself. I push up to go in a door, and next thing, I'm back to where I was. So I figured down must be forward. So I try that, and still don't know where I'm going. Left and right don't seem to do anything. You think it would turn Mikey's perspective, like in Friday the 13th. When I'm using an already shitty game as an example as what it should do, you know it's a bad sign. I can't comprehend the layout. There's no logical sense of space in this asinine architecture. I never even knew how fucking crack-brained a video game can be until I realized Mikey can only face forward. Left and right do work if you're going through a side door. But hang on, which direction am I looking now? How does this room relate to the one I was just in? When I went through the door, did my perspective turn 90 degrees? Or did I walk sideways into the room? Is Mikey actually strafing into the next room? And remember, when I tried to go into a door that's right in front of my fucking face but ended up back outside the door I came in, that's because I walked backwards through the first door. You have to imagine a theoretical door on the fourth wall in which he walks backwards through. Ugh, does that make any sense? I'm trying my best to put this into words, but I just sound insane. Basically, you can't turn around, so you can never actually see the door you came in. Never. But wait, that doesn't explain how up moved me backwards. Well, if you look at the corner, you see Mikey inside that sort of directional compass. If he's facing toward us, that means down will move him in the direction he's facing, while up will move him backwards. So essentially what I'm saying is, you press up to walk backwards out of a room. As soon as you get used to that, next thing, he's facing away. So now up is up and down is down. I know 3D rooms in video games was a pretty new concept at the time, but wouldn't the simplest way to program this be up is always forward, down is always back, and anytime you turn left or right, that would change the perspective and reorient the controls, right? Instead, this game seems to think of the D-pad as a fixed direction, so down will always move you to one side of the room, and so on. The manual attempts to explain it and even says, hey, nobody ever said this was easy. Man, they got that right. Even when you understand it, why does the character have to face different directions? I think it happens based on which way you've originally entered the room in relation to the overworld map. But why was that necessary? How did they manage to fuck it up so bad? I'd say it's very unlikely they've ever made a video game before this, but there was Goonies 1. Anyway, what's the goal in these rooms? Why are we here? Well, this is one of those point and click, fuck around and find out type of games, but in the bad kind of way, where all you're really doing is playing a blind guessing game. Who's this guy? He's not helpful in any way. So, how about, I don't know, I just punch him in the face? What do you do? What must you do this to me, dear me? You can even hit him with a hammer. That's brutal.
Remember that scene in the movie, not The Exorcist, but The Goonies, where Mikey beat the shit out of some old man? Well, of course not, because this is Goonies 2.
Anytime you collect new items, it goes into your tool menu. To access them, you have to fumble through some really awkward controls. To move the cursor left or right, you can only press up and down to cycle through the tools. It would be perfectly logical to press left and right, but that does nothing. Also, to go to the second page of tools, you have to hit B, which would usually be the cancel button. The cancel button is start. What kind of sense does that make? You hit start to go back? The real secret of the tool menu is that we're not in control. The game's messing with us because we are the tools.
I don't mean to sound like I'm going out of my way to complain, and it might seem like a small thing, but that would be like if you rented a car, you got in and the stick shift was on the ceiling. Would you be like, oh, okay? Or would you be like, why the fuck is it up here?
What makes the tool menu even stranger is that when you're on the side-scrolling stages, Start brings up a whole new menu, one that's more traditional, more like what you'd expect for the NES. Some of the same tools are in here, such as the hammer, ladder, candle, etc. But here, they're not called tools, they're called implements. So, because the same tools appear in two different menu screens that function in completely different ways, only leads me to believe that there were two different games that somehow got smushed together like two different dog turds being run through the lawnmower. But if and when you ever get used to these rooms and tool system, that's only half the battle, because it's a puzzle within a puzzle. Every door, every item, every single thing you're trying to find is hidden. You have to trigger them to appear, usually by physically hitting every little spot. It might be the wall, it might be the ceiling, it might be the floor, and it might be with the fist, it might be with the hammer. It's like Milon's secret castle, where you have to break the blocks to find everything. Except, imagine if Milon had to try each block twice while switching weapons. It takes twice as long. It's a pixel hunting nightmare that never ends. Oh, you can get special glasses that makes everything visible. Thank God. But oh wait, it only works in certain places. In fact, it barely works at all. What a fucking tease. And there were no special glasses in the movie, but never mind that.
Because this is Goonies 2.
Even when you do find something, like when you find a hole on the ceiling, sometimes you can only get to it with a ladder, and if it's a hole in the floor, sometimes you need a diving suit because I guess it's full of water. So you'll have to come back later when you have those items. Now, if you make a hole and then you leave the room and then come back, the hole's gone. At least I think it's gone because it seems like a different room. So they don't even have the goddamn courtesy to let you retrace your steps. If I saw the hole, I'd be able to know I was just there. Where's the hole? You want to know what fucking hole I'm thinking of? When you get the ladder, you climb up by pressing up. Makes sense, but you want to know how to climb down the ladder? By pressing up. Does that mean he is actually going down head first? Have you ever climbed upside down a ladder?
It does not work.
Then they have the nerve to make the rooms go dark. So now you gotta get a candle. You gotta go on a never-ending scavenger hunt, punching and hammering every wall in every room till you come to an old man who says, "Get out of here if you have nothing to do." Okay, how about I punch him in the face?
Fuck you, motherfucker! Yeah!
So I punched him 3 times, and nothing interesting happened. But just for good measure, I hit him a 4th time. Still nothing.
Well, I'm pretty sure nothing is gonna happen, so how about I hit him one more time? The candle appeared? How would you come to that conclusion? What do you do when you see an old man meditating? Well, punch him 5 times in the fucking face! Of course! If that's your first instinct, that really says a lot about you.
It's like punching people in Roger Rabbit. You don't expect it to have any effect. And why 5 times? Usually it would take 3. When would it ever be 5? Man, I've played tons of games and that's never occurred. Anyway, now that you have the candle, you walk into a room and guess what? It's still dark. What am I thinking? Of course the candle's not automatic. You gotta click Tools, then select the candle. Fair enough, but when you go into the next room, guess what? You gotta click Tools and select the candle again. And then you go back into the room you were just at, and you gotta do it again!
Why doesn't Mikey just leave the candle on? Is he blowing it out every single time he goes into the next room? Man, that makes no sense. And that wasn't in the movie either. But this is Goonies 2.
What I find most remarkable is how all these simple, shitty things seem related to one another, as if they're all working together like a well-greased, piss-stained diarrhea machine, like one of Data's contraptions. It's a chain effect. The wall-hitting bullshit plays into the navigational disorientation, which plays into the darkness, which plays into the back-ass controls. It's just one big circle-jerk fuck show. Honestly, I'm impressed. This takes frustrating game design to a high art. It's one of the most psychologically targeted brain fuckers I've ever played.
No! I'm too young!
I need a beer. Where is it? Where is it? There's a beer in this wall. I would totally drink it. Oh, I know. It's hammer time. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of elder abuse in this episode, nerd.
You're still here, huh? You're still fucking here! Alright, where was I?
Did I just spend the past 8 minutes talking about the simple function of moving through rooms? It's astonishing how the game goes from good to horrible as soon as you open one of those doors. How did they fuck it all up over something so stupid? Something that you normally wouldn't even have to think about is such a large part of the game. And that's the majority of your time, just finding your way through rooms and clicking around menus to do simple things that could have been done with one hit of a button. It overcomplicates everything. Imagine if you were playing Super Mario Brothers and anytime you go down a pipe, it switches to something completely different, like some kind of 3D labyrinth with a mess of menus and controls that make no sense.
But what happens when you make it through these rooms? You thought it'd be an end-all, shit-all, bottom-of-the-barrel fuck? No, the rooms are merely the means of transit to the other side of the map. Yeah, I haven't even talked about the map yet.
Who knows? Mel, if you said you could translate right here.
Yeah, translate it.
Yeah, now we're really getting down to it. It's nice they have a map, but it's pointless because you never take a direct path to go anywhere ever. Instead, you go through those 3D rooms which act as a turd tunnel to go from one shitty realm to the next. On the other side, you find yourself on the back of the map. That's right, the map flips around. Let me demonstrate on paper. It's as if you're trying to solve an ordinary maze, except every so often there's a spot where you have to punch the pen through, and on the other side, there's a whole other maze as if you traveled through a wormhole. So now you have to find your way to the next wormhole and flip the map again, and again, and again. But that's simplifying it, because each time you'd get to one of those wormholes, you'd have to switch to some kind of 3D maze and find your way through blindfolded while only being able to point in one direction. The whole idea is to rescue your friends, like the first game, but the map won't show where they're at, unless you find a locator device for each individual one. When you do, the friends are represented by a blue dot, which only means they're inside a room that's in that area. You are represented by a red dot, so you head toward the blue dot, checking the map every so often to keep track. Next thing you know, the blue dot is gone. What happened? Oh, am I on it? That's right. The red dot can cover the blue dot. So you gotta move one screen over just to make sure. That's like if you're looking for the TV remote and suspect you might be sitting on it, so you have to get up and move. They couldn't figure out how to show a blue dot and a red dot at the same time? Couldn't they just make a purple dot, perhaps? So I go through the room, I hammer the wall to find a door that leads to the friend in a cage. Luckily I have the key, so I open it and they say, "Mikey, you're late, I was almost killed." Well, cut me a fucking break. I had to get a diving suit so I can climb up down a ladder to find a hidden safe behind a wall, behind a door, behind an invisible door that I moonwalked backwards out of. Then I had to kill some birds until one of them dropped the key. I had to bomb a bunch of random spots on the wall so I could find hyper shoes. I had to jump across a bunch of poop platforms, slide around on ice, as if anyone ever liked that trope. Then I had to fill up my health by Konami Man. Yes, Konami Man. Unless you hit him, in which he'll never forget it and never give you health ever again for the rest of the game. That's true. I had to swim around in a bunch of underwater caverns and meet creatures from the Black Lagoon and fight a bunch of dragons. Remember the Gillman and dragons from Goonies? Of course you don't.
Because this is Goonies 2.
I had to go through one secret room to get to another secret room to get to another one and another and another and another and another and another. All to rescue your friends. And think about how disturbing that is. There's kids in cages with talk of being killed in an NES game. That is fucking dark.
One positive thing about this game is that you can continue as many times as you need, which almost makes it worse because with no game overs, I have no excuse.
There's nothing exciting at the end. No final boss, nothing. You open the last door, and there you go. You saved Annie. Who happens to be a mermaid, by the way. Remember the mermaid in Goonies?
No? Well, that's because this is a load of fucking shit!
May I ask, why is the mermaid topless? Specifically, my question would be why they actively chose to have a mermaid with a blank chest rather than give her the typical clamshell bra like in Peter Pan, and soon to be made famous a couple years after with The Little Mermaid. Am I asking too many questions?
If they make a Goonies 2 film and it's anything like this game, I will truffle shuffle till I shit my pants. It's crazy to think the first game is the one they held back from us. It's kind of like a rhinoceros comes over to piss on you, and then it turns around, oh thank God, and then shits on your fucking face. That is an unfortunate situation, and this is one of the worst sequels ever. Konami really delivered the number 2 on us.
It goes many layers deep. It starts out like Super Pitfall. You scrape away that layer of shit, and underneath is Friday the 13th. And under that is Mylon's Secret Castle, as you go further into the center of the wet, smelly dog turd.
Now, I don't know for a fact if the core of a dog turd is any worse than the whole turd. That has yet to be tested. But I'm going to test something else out right now! You've probably seen my old cellular telephone. It's a little bit out of date, so I decided it's about time. So I got myself a new phone. Yeah, I guess it's a phone because it's also a camera. Yeah, how crazy is that?
And you could talk to people by typing instead of using your voice. Wow, big advancement. And it has the internet, it has videos, and it also has, guess what? Video games.
Sure, there were older cell phone games like Snake. Remember that? You're just a growing snake eating pixels while trying not to touch the walls or yourself. But since then, mobile games have come a long way. Now, you know me, I'm the nerd. I play old consoles. I haven't played any of these crazy newer games in which you use your finger to touch the screen. Imagine if I could touch any of the games I've reviewed in the past, like if I could touch Dick Tracy or Seaman.
I have a lot of catching up to do with all the mobile games of the past 25 years or so. So if I could pick only one to review, well, the choice is quite simple. Of course, go with the horse.
The game is called My Horse Prince, and I bet this is gonna be fantastic. Just wait and see. Episode 1, The First Gallop. Here's the deal. Girl shows up at a ranch looking for some good-looking guys. She heard that princes ride horses, and then Weird Mario Dude shows up.
What the shit?
Tell me, why is he bending his head to the side? Wow, talk about two different styles. The girl is fully designed with an anime aesthetic, while the ranch owner is God knows what. It's like some kid drew it. I've never seen such a distinct contrast in art styles between two characters in any game ever. Anyway, there's no hot guys here, but instead, appearing in a majestic ray of light is... Holy Mother of God! The horse's name is Yuma. She says, he has a human head, and then thinks to herself, a good-looking one at that.
Oh boy, it's a dating game with a horse with a human head that talks. Boy, we're in for some shit right now. Man, if only we weren't in vertical format, you could see what I'm doing with my hand right now. But it involves all digits down and one digit up.
The ranch owner says weird girls born in the year of the horse sometimes see horses as attractive men. That explains it. It all makes perfect sense now. Then the gameplay starts. You're just collecting carrots. That's it. Eat up the carrots. Like a billion of them that randomly spawn. Wait a second. Did that carrot just drop out of the horse's ass? Watch that again. He shit out a carrot.
Yeah.
Ugh, that guy. Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have got this phone. Here.
Anyway, you're just trying to eat enough carrots to get your meter filled all the way up, which takes forever. But the more you eat, the more your energy percentage decreases. To restore energy, you engage in multiple choice conversations with the horse. Answer the question right, you make the horse happy, and the energy percentage goes up. And that's about the extent of the gameplay. Okay, I got enough carrots. I filled up the meter, and now Weird Mario Dude asks me if I'll take the horse. I guess there's no choice. Wow, easy there. Thud, 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 thud. That horse is way too excited. And then, oh dear.
Oh my God. The fuck?
This is an image I never expected to see. I would have never imagined this in my wildest nightmares. How is this scene supposed to be interpreted? Is it trying to be romantic, or is the horse trying to kill her? I mean, the hoof is smashing the wall. First of all, could you lower that hoof and calm down a little? I would have died if he was an inch closer.
Oh my God. The horse's hoof almost went right through her fucking skull.
Leave a review on the App Store?
I'm doing a review right now.
I love how the options are okay or what? Exactly. Episode 2, treadmill training. Same thing, except you're running on treadmills. The horse is on a treadmill, and he's running them so hard into the ground they fucking explode! Damn! Why does he have to destroy them all? Why does he have to run on them anyway?
The owner even says I keep buying new ones because he breaks them. No shit! It must be thousands! It must be all the treadmills in the world! It takes way too long to fill up that meter, and I guess the meter fills up quicker if your energy percentage is higher, which makes the items worth more points, I suppose? So you gotta talk to that horse, and you can only talk to him 3 times per stage. You can get a 4th talk if you watch an ad.
Good time to take a shit, perhaps?
After that, from what it's telling me, in order to talk again, you have to wait nearly 30 minutes!
You gotta be kidding me. Have some kind of mercy. It's a mobile game. It's something you play while you're on the go and you have like a few minutes here and there. 25 to 30 minutes, that's longer than the level should even take. And there's like 10 levels each. You could beat ghosts and goblins in the time you can beat this shit.
No matter what you do, this meter is the slowest I've ever seen, and I mean that. Anytime you get one of the items, it hardly even moves a pixel, and the items don't come often enough. But you can spawn them faster if you buy gold carrots, and I mean with actual money.
What kind of idiot would spend real money on this game? All right, let's do it.
Got the gold carrot, give it to the horse. Fever! Oh, shit! What's happening? Oh, the horse is going fucking crazy! This is the treadmill apocalypse. Oh my god, this dialogue is amazing. My heart was racing because I thought I was going to die. Why do I have to spend money on that weird-ass horse? I was wondering, you think that horse is weird? You think? So she tries to escape the horse, makes up a bullshit story saying she's too busy selling water infused with fresh air. Handsome horse ranch water.
Well, I bet that tastes handsome as fuck.
Every time you beat a stage, you get another insane cutscene. Here, the horse is lifting her chin with his hoof. What's your name? Oh, it's Nerd.
Yeah, that's what I put in.
Nerd. That's a nice name.
Well, okay.
Episode 3, The Morning Feed. It's morning, and the horse wants to make me breakfast. Rice, miso soup, and carrot salad. I've never heard anyone eat that for breakfast before. Yeah, that's the strange part. Never mind the fact that there's a horse in the kitchen with an apron chopping up veggies. And why did I wake up in the same place as the horse? No, I'd rather not ask. And why does he have to chop up so many green onions? You think he might be going a little overboard? That's gotta be truckfuls of that shit. Who loves green onions that much? What's wrong? Don't be picky and eat it all up.
Oh, shit. This is not an option.
Oh my god, he's force-feeding me. Just one more. Cough, cough, cough. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me.
The horse is shoving the fucking green onions down my fucking throat. I can see an old lady beckoning me toward the... Oh, dear Lord. Oh.
Episode 4, Street Corner Steed. While I appreciated breakfast being made for me, I almost died.
That only confirms it. That only confirms everything that we've been saying all along. The horse was trying to overstuff me to death.
I had no way of knowing that I would once again come face to face with the root of my problems. Yeah, the root of my problems. Yeah, we should talk about that. So here, there's a big water leak in the city. You have to make the horse whack at it with a pickaxe and spin into a tornado like the Tasmanian devil. It doesn't look like normal road work. Oh, wait, you're telling me that's not normal? Doesn't that happen on every city block when there's a leak? A horse comes in spinning into a motherfucking tornado? He's hitting that road pretty hard, but that's okay, right?
It's not the only thing he's going to be hitting hard.
Episode 5, Wave Jumps. Ooh, you gotta be kidding me, man. The horse is surfing! Is there anything this horse can't do? And the part she finds remarkable is that he's wearing sunglasses. Oh, and then we get another disturbing image. Did I surprise you? My clothes are all wet now. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, God. Episode 6, Trial Fanfare. Now we're at the racetrack. Yeah, you know, like an actual horse race. Something that horses actually do, in real life. Astonishing, right? Well, apparently they arrived by public transit, but they only talk about it. Yeah, of all the weird things that have happened so far, that's the only thing they don't show us. Could you imagine, though, a horse on a train with some deranged girl talking to it? Would have loved to have seen that. But anyway, this horse doesn't race like an ordinary horse. Of course not. He plays dirty by kicking the shit out of the other horses. Why, that's damn rude. Episode 7, Wild Winnie. I'll be honest, I've been playing this for hours and hours. I can't stop because I have to see what happens next. It just keeps getting crazier. Don't you want to see what happens next? Yeah, probably. The horse is a rock star. This is the most multi-talented horse I've ever seen. Human face or not, look at him go. He's using his front legs to play the guitar. That is class. And then he sings to me, "My love, nerd." Interesting lyrics. But fuck a horse, save a cowboy. Episode 8, Street Corner Cavaletti. This time the horse has to fight a Mohawk guy. The funny thing here is if you engage in dialogue with the horse, it makes me wonder, how is he having a conversation right now? Does he stop the fight to say, "The stars look nice tonight," and then he goes back to fighting? That's not a normal horse. Damn right. Wow, you can say that again. And then he smashes his ass up against the dude's face. The force cracks the damn wall. This game is amazing. Episode 9, Riding Rivals. One crazy horse ain't enough in this game. Now there's 2. So the other horse, Ryoma, is his enemy and they engage in a boulder-throwing battle. All you do is break the boulders he throws, and afterwards he rests his head on the other horse saying, "Let's settle this at the race." Oh, I guess his head is in front of the other horse. I don't know. Episode 10, Stakes of Glory. Here comes the race, but the jockey isn't feeling well enough to ride, because he says, "My butt's going to explode if I get on a horse!" My butt's gonna explode? I don't even have any comments to live up to this dialogue. Then let it explode! I couldn't have said it better myself. Did I make this game? So now, the horse is racing against Ryoma by using those trademark kicks again, but this time you're riding on the horse's back. Sitting sideways, I must add. You gotta love the classical music. That's the William Tell Overture, commonly known as the Lone Ranger theme. It reminds me of the last level of Earthworm Jim 2, where you have to race Psychro, which also has classical music. But anyway, I must win this race. I came this far, I can't stop now. Gotta do it, I gotta do it, I gotta win. Gotta win. Win. Oh no. Oh shit, my battery's almost dead. Oh, I gotta charge. Gotta charge. Where's these chargers? Where's these fucking chargers? Don't die, don't die. Come on. Ah, here we go. USB, that's it. No, fuck that. Not that one. No, it's that Apple shit. Oh, that's it. I just, god damn it, I need an adapter now. Fuck. Ah, no. Here we go. Motherfucker, don't die. No, oh, it's gonna die. Here we go. Plug it in now. Gotta plug it in. I gotta do it. Gotta get it. Plug it in. Oh, thank God. Come on. Yeah! So the horse wins the race. All thanks to you, nerd. Whew. Well, That should be the end of the game. But, yeah, there's a, funny thing about that. They added 3 bonus levels!
Episode 11, Leisurely Amble.
You're shaving sheep! Who gave this horse a razor?
That's an energetic way to shear.
You bet it is! He throws the fucking sheep in the air and shaves the ever-loving shit out of them! Bah! Bah! Shave the sheep! Shave the sheep! Sheepy, 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 sheepy! He's shaving every sheep on the farm! Every sheep in the country, and it's all just to make one single scarf.
And the images have been progressing away from creepy to becoming more lighthearted, going for cute and adorable, which only makes it stranger. Episode 12, White Turf. Now the horse is skiing. Oh, more of the same bullshit, or, well, horse shit. And then the horse and the girl have a falling out over something stupid, and the girl runs away and gets stranded in the snow. And at last, episode 13, Lone Sprinter. She finds an abandoned cabin and keeps warm by burning her phone. Can you imagine the toxic fumes? And how much warmth would that even give off? And then she realizes she can't call for help. Dumbass. So the whole level, the horse is running through the snow to save her while dodging and knocking over trees. Ultimately, he crashes through the cabin wall like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and then they get together under the blanket.
Oh boy.
What am I resting on? His forelegs?
I can't believe this is real! How did this game ever get made? Oh, I need a beer after that. Ha! Oh.
Hey, nerd.
Oh, God!
I love you, nerd. Don't be afraid.
Ah, no, I should have never played this game. Okay, get it off my phone. That's it, the phone.
No. Oh, nerd.
Fuck these modern phones. I'm sticking with the old shit. This is my phone now.
20 years ago, I said, this game sucks, and then launched into a tirade dissecting all the things that were wrong with Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. Because I'm the nerd, and my mission is to warn you that lots of those old games that you look back at with sentimental longing are actually steaming piles of goat shit. Don't go near them. The thing is, at the time, I didn't know who I was talking to. It was the summer of 2004, and YouTube didn't exist yet, so I was pretty much ranting into the thin air of sorrow that lingered over my stale room of dusty game consoles and VHS tapes. In my closet, underneath a pile of socks and underwear, was a shoebox full of old NES games, and there it was, Simon's Quest. Like a call to action, I became somebody you now know as the fucking nerd. Back then, I wasn't yet the angry video game nerd. I wasn't even the angry Nintendo nerd. Episode 1, I didn't have a name or a face. I was just a voice. Just a voice in your head telling you to stay away from this filth. Was I even wearing my white shirt when I spoke those words? No, to tell you the truth, it was hot, so I wasn't wearing anything. Just kidding. So for this occasion, I'm going back to my roots when I was only a voice. Simon's Quest was released in North America in December '88. Using some Christmas money, I bought it from Toys R Us. I played it constantly, and at the time, I noticed nothing wrong. Even though I was endlessly traveling in circles, it didn't matter to me, because I was stupid. No, it was because it was a time of innocence. It was 1989, most likely, when I first played it.
so by the time I reviewed it, about 15 years had passed. While publicly, 2004 is known as the beginning of the nerds era, for me personally, it was the end of the Neolithic nostalgia age, leaving behind my childhood in a spiteful fart cloud of frustration. It was like coming out of a hangover and then realizing how much you drank the night before. Oh, those nights. It all seems like fun and games. Your judgment's impaired, you're making merry, but afterwards, your head is pounding with humiliating defeat as you begin assessing all the damage you caused to yourself. Honestly, with how many bad games there are, it's hard to imagine why Simon's Quest was the first one I picked. You all know what I picked next. That one where I had to drink a six-pack of Rolling Rock and show you my face on camera for the first time, and after I revisited it so many times, I finally beat the game with the help of my future self. I exorcised that demon, so let's move on. This time, I actually want to talk about something a little more positive. If episode 1 was a coin, this is the flip side. If I thought Simon's Quest was the worst Castlevania game, well then, what's the best? Yes, I already answered that in my Castlevania 4-part episode in 2009. I said my favorite was Super Castlevania 4, but the question now is, do I still believe that? Are any of the challengers able to claim the throne? Well, first of all, I'm talking about the retro era of Castlevania games on the main consoles. In the 4-parter, I mentioned most of them. Some would consider Castlevania 3 to be better than 4 because of the multiple characters, the forking paths, or maybe just because it came before. Those are all valid reasons, and it's totally legit if you're more of a Castlevania 3 kind of person. I replayed it, and I still have to say I favor 4. The 16-bit graphics and sound are more effective for immersing you into the spooky atmosphere. The control is so much smoother, and not to mention, you can whip in all directions. And it's not as ruthless with so much of that knockback bullshit. Some would say knockback is what makes it challenging. I say that's what makes it cheap. I mentioned Bloodlines. This would be the Sega Genesis's answer to the Super Nintendo and Konami's tradition of always making 2 separate versions during the 16-bit war. I can't ignore that Bloodlines gives you the choice of 2 different characters, and there's some very interesting level design, but in my opinion, it's not as interesting as the spinning room and all the things that happen in 4. In Bloodlines, you can't whip in all directions, and this time I don't see why not, if they would have taken 1 note from 4. Sure, you can whip down and also diagonally up, but only while you're jumping. In 4, you can do it from the ground. I could go down the list and say the sound effects and music aren't as good, this and that, but the whipping alone is enough to settle it for me. Once again, I stand by what I said in the old video. Bloodlines is a great game, but it's not as good as 4, for me personally. Now, it's time to talk about the one I missed entirely, Castlevania Chronicles. And it was on PlayStation, so I have no idea how I was completely oblivious to this game's existence. Perhaps I confused it with Castlevania the Dracula X Chronicles, which was the PSP version of Rondo of Blood with updated graphics. It also included the original version of Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. But anyway, the Castlevania Chronicles was originally released in 1993 on the Sharp X68000 computer, exclusively in Japan, so it's no wonder I didn't know about it back then, but it was re-released on PlayStation in 2001, which is the version you're seeing right now. It's essentially a remake of the original Castlevania with redesigned stages. I beat it in less than 3 hours, so it's a nice confined experience, but I'm not gonna lie, I played it on the easiest difficulty setting possible. If I were critiquing the original release, I would probably say it's way too fucking hard, but in the PlayStation version, there's 2 modes, original and arranged. Arranged mode has some slight enhancements with graphics and sound, but most notably, it lets you adjust the difficulty and doesn't have the knockback. Now, if you want the knockback, if you're a gaming masochist and love the insane challenge, then you still have the option, and I tip my hat to you. To me, fair difficulty is very important. I don't want it too easy, but not too hard either. For me, Castlevania 4 is balanced perfectly. Chronicles isn't that remarkable since it's pretty much a remake of the first game. And while 4 is also kind of a remake in a sense, as it's basically retelling the events of the first game, it offers a lot of new stages that bear no resemblance and is much more original than Chronicles. Again, Chronicles doesn't have the 8-directional whipping. It's more like Bloodlines. You can whip diagonally while jumping, but in Bloodlines it's diagonally upward. Here, it's downward. Pretty strange how they got parts of the controls right, but they just couldn't give us the whole damn thing. Not as good as 4, but it's a great game. It gives you that old school basic Castlevania experience, and it's nice to have finally played it after all those years of being oblivious. The search for the true successor to Castlevania 4 led me down an uncertain road. In my 4-parter, I talked about Castlevania Dracula X on Super Nintendo. I talked about how the whipping was a step back to the NES style, and the difficulty was rather sadistic, especially that final battle with Dracula. I lightly brushed upon the fact that this was a remake of Rondo of Blood, which was on the PC engine in Japan. But did I actually review Rondo of Blood and include it as part of my Castlevania marathon? No, I didn't. And that was a fucking shame. Ever since the PSP, there's been many ports of this game, so it's not as elusive as it once was. I finally played it all the way through on the PS4 and got 100% completion for the first time, and now I can see that Dracula X was definitely not a direct port in any way. Sure, there were some similarities, but Rondo of Blood is a very different game that, quite frankly, blows Dracula X to smithereens. The graphics and sound effects give you everything you want, the music delivers even more tracks that rank up with the most classic Castlevania tunes, and the natural feel and satisfaction of destroying enemies could never be better. Right from that opening stage, you're whipping skeletons against a fiery background before you realize, hey, that's the first town from Simon's Quest. It's like burning down the memory of a shitty game with a kick-ass game. All around, it reminds you of the other classic Castlevanias. You have a dungeon, a clock tower, even a ghost ship, and amazing boss characters, both new and old. The enemies might be a little strange. Am I seeing this? The bats are carrying swords! There's a secret character you can find, Maria. Once you find her, she becomes playable. It's a lot like Castlevania 3, where other characters join, but unfortunately you can't switch between Richter and Maria on the fly. You have to choose one or the other on the menu, which is kind of disappointing. Maria is a very powerful character, and I find myself playing as her just as much or maybe more than Richter, but man, what a bizarre character, totally out of place with the franchise. I mean, she's going around throwing cats as one of her sub-weapons. And yes, you can explain that 4 of her 6 sub-weapons are based on the 4 guardians of Chinese mythology, as if that makes throwing cats look totally normal. There's also a bunch of prisoners you can find, which are more or less Easter eggs, but none of them are playable characters.
Thank you very much, Maria.
It's nice that it gives you save slots, so unlike the earlier games, you can keep your progress. Also, if you accidentally get a sub-weapon that you don't want, you still have a chance to pick up your old one again. That's really nice of them. The earlier games would have just said, fuck you, you're stuck with it. On the other hand, the whipping is a major downgrade, even from Bloodlines and Chronicles, because now you can't even whip diagonally at all. What's the deal with that? The pause feature is a little bit dysfunctional because the music keeps playing. I don't understand the reasoning. The whole point is to pause everything. Your mom calls you or your dog starts barking at something. You want to stop and hear what's going on. So you got to pause, put down the controller, pick up the remote control, and hit mute. What were they thinking? So this is the first Castlevania game on a CD, so the sound capabilities are a major advancement. But this also gives it a field day to incorporate a lot of really weird voice acting.
Who are you, mister?
I am Richter Belmont, vampire hunter.
You proved amusing to me.
It's your fault for being so mean to everyone.
This is also the first in the series where the anime aesthetic is so prevalent. While made in Japan, I always assumed that the earlier games were going more for a Bram Stoker, Hammer Films influence, so it definitely strayed from that.
Oh, it's crumbling! Everyone, run for it!
Look at Maria's ending. If you would have shown me that screenshot, I would have never guessed that's a Castlevania game. The question remains, is it as good as Castlevania 4? Well, it's gotta be close, right? It's linear for the most part, it's old school, how I like it. The advancements such as the save slots, the opportunity to keep your old items, the secondary character, should all give it the added bonus points to overtake 4. But the stiff, horizontally restricted whip is a major setback, and for this reason alone, I do not like it as much. But there's a whole other factor that threw my decision into further question. Something so perplexing that it nearly turned my opinion into a never-ending stalemate. Nearly half the game is hidden. I thought it was kind of short until I realized there's all these secret levels I didn't know about. And when I say secret, I mean secret. It's not like in Castlevania 3 where you come to a forking path and decide which way you want to go. This is more like the cryptic bullshit you'd find in Castlevania 2. You might have to break through a random wall or hit a certain spiked ball so that it falls and opens the path below, or you might have to kill a certain enemy to reveal a switch that opens a staircase, or most of the time you have to take a leap of faith and drop down a pit that would normally send you to your doom. How would you ever know to do that without looking it up? You'd either have to fall by accident or deliberately drop down every pit you see. And here I am trying to evaluate whether or not I think Rondo of Blood is as good as 4, and I nearly miss half the game because I didn't know about all the hidden paths. I have never been more confused with my own opinion. On one hand, this means it's a much bigger game than I was going to give it credit for. It even has a cemetery stage, which I said I wished the series had more of. But on the other hand, the game is like one big giant Easter egg hunt. This is the reason I criticize Castlevania 2 so much. So what am I trying to say here? Is Rondo of Blood the best or worst? It has all the things about Castlevania that I love and hate. And if you have such a great game in there, why keep so much of it hidden? The final nail in the coffin is all the sadistic knockback shit, which is just plain cruel. Fuck. Fuck! Fuck! Nope. Castlevania 4 all the way. So, while it seems that's the end of the road, that 4 is my undefeatable champion, Symphony of the Night, I think, is worth a rematch. Just to recap things I've said before, this is the first Castlevania that said, hey, you know what? We're going to be like Metroid from now on, except for the occasional 3D. And you'll be going through Dracula's gigantic castle for the entire duration of the game. No outdoor scenes, or very little. I mentioned how every time you die, you have to endure an excruciatingly long game over screen, only to send you back to the main title and load the game all over again. Fuck that. I mentioned how I preferred the common sense challenge of 4. There's no tricks, you can't turn into a bat and fly over shit, you never have to think, which way am I supposed to go here? Which item should I use? Am I equipped properly? Should I grind and level up? None of that, you just run through and play. In Symphony of the Night, the main character is Alucard, who mainly uses a sword, so the 8-directional whipping isn't even applicable at this point. You only play as Richter in the very first scene, and as sort of a bonus after you've beaten the entire game. In fact, you even have to beat the damn game upside down before you get that far. But after so many years have passed, I found the real secret to enjoying the fuck out of Symphony of the Night. I say, beat the game, unlock Richter, and then take a break. Take a good long break and come back. Now, you're playing Castlevania. First of all, I wasn't aware or had forgotten that Richter had so many moves that aren't immediately apparent. It still bugs me that they never brought back the 8-directional whipping, but for some reason they still included that limp twirl or whatever you want to call that. But with all the new moves, it kind of makes up for it. Richter here is just as much fun to control as Simon. First, there's that cool little backflip thing, and then there's the sliding kick. Man, I love that. I love it so much, it has become an addiction. I mean, why just walk into the next room when you can slide kick? Yeah, it never gets old. Then there's the dash attack, which is kind of neat whenever you have time to pull it off. You have to press up, down, down, forward, forward, attack. What is this? Fucking Street Fighter? Down, up, jump makes you do an uppercut, which is not just a great attack, but it also serves as an infinite jump to reach higher places. Unfortunately, it's extremely awkward to pull off. Any move that makes you hit down, up while you're in midair is fucked as hell. And I think there's a certain speed to it. You can't hit it too fast or too slow. I don't get it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you absolutely have to do it, a lot, because it's the only way you can reach certain spots, especially when the castle goes upside down again. Yes, it's like replaying the entire game, so all those spots with Alucard where you had to turn into a bat and fly, now you have to uppercut into the air over and over like a madman. You still have your sub-weapons, but unlike Alucard, Richter doesn't have any items to equip. No inventory whatsoever. But after all, that is basically what I wanted, to return to Castlevania's simpler roots, as opposed to a more complicated RPG system. Playing as Richter is an entirely different experience, and is like a mandatory second half of Symphony of the Night. And in the Saturn and PS4 port, you can also play as Maria. Damn, well maybe I'll have to try more of that next time, but after fully experiencing it as Richter, I can say, I definitely enjoyed it a whole lot more than the main Alucard game. Did I enjoy it as much as 4? In a lot of ways, yeah, I think so. This past playthrough was the closest I ever came to replacing 4 as my #1 favorite Castlevania game. All they had to do was this: make Richter the main game, and then have Alucard be the second half or as a secondary character. In that case, I would have found this contest to be a lot easier to decide. But even then, all the ungodly time spent reloading whenever you die is a major strike against it. Sometimes, it comes down to the simplest things. In 4, I can never forget that feeling of gratification when you land on a stairway and moonwalk, or when you latch onto something with the whip and feel that momentum build as you swing yourself back and forth. How about the appealing sound of those golden platforms and treasure chests spilling coins as you walk across them? Or the sound of the bones collapsing when you hit the skeletons? It's countless little things like that. And why is the 8-directional whipping so important? It's because it gives you the feeling of freedom. When you engage with an enemy, you can decide whether you want to strike from the air or hit him from below. Your instincts take over, rather than trying to adapt to some clumsy limitation. Maybe this game spoiled me, and maybe you'd say the full whip directions make it too easy. How does the whip save you from all that crazy shit near the end, like when the giant sprocket's chasing you up the stage? It still gets pretty damn hard. The full whip controls just give you a fair chance to hit anything on the screen. You and the game are in perfect competition. No cheap shots. You're not fighting with one hand behind your back. You're in full control, so when you die, it's on you. Some things stay the same, and Castlevania 4 is still my favorite. And other things vary, such as my complex thoughts about Castlevania 2. Even though it pissed me off, I was still able to look back at it again and realize there's much I appreciate. So I can change my mind a little, but one thing I can say, if it wasn't for Simon's Quest, you might not have ever known about me, and I might not have ever known about you. Why else would I still be doing this? This battle against shitty games has been quite a ride, and all the memories created since, to me, have gone far beyond just Castlevania. This has been 20 years and counting, so Godspeed and fuckballs. What is a video game? What purpose does it serve? Well, I think a video game is meant to grant you a certain type of control and power over a make-believe situation, perhaps to compensate for the control and power that you lack in your daily life. Okay, maybe they got too philosophical too soon, but the game I'm talking about here is a bit more intellectual than what I'd normally review. But if you've seen my reviews of Earthbound and Final Fantasy VI, you'll know that the Super Nintendo classics are something that I hold sacred and are a prime era of nostalgia for me. The first time I saw SimCity was in the holy pages of that gaming Bible we call Nintendo Power, the scripture of Volume 28, page 74. The power of creation is yours, saith Nintendo. You are bestowed the ability to construct your very own city from the ground up and populate it with people. I had never yet heard of such a game before, where instead of playing the role of a space cadet, a marine, a vampire slayer, a sword-wielding hero, or a Koopa-stomping plumber, you are the mayor of a city. Of course, SimCity was originally on PC, published by Maxis, but then it got Nintendo-fied, and that's when I took notice. The Super Nintendo version, to me, is one of the greatest 16-bit games, and it was also one of the North American launch titles, along with Super Mario World, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, and Gradius 3. What an amazing variety to kickstart a new era of gaming. SimCity has its origins in strategy-based games like Utopia on the Intellivision. Yeah, it's come a long way. And even to this day, with the amount of sim games that exist, SimCity might seem a bit antiquated. However, I don't think its simple charm has ever been surpassed. The reason may have something to do with the intuitive, friendly nature of it, the cartoonish aesthetics, the green-haired Don King guy, Dr. Wright, who acts as your personal advisor, and the relaxing music, which puts you in a meditational, thinking mood. The music goes through several changes. As your city builds up and the population increases, the music progresses toward a more urgent, industrial, workforce, get shit done kind of feel. It starts as a village, then a town, a city, a capital, and a metropolis, which is the furthest I've ever made it. But if your population reaches 500,000, you advance to something even greater, a megalopolis. Only in the pages of Nintendo Power and the Super Nintendo Player's Guide had I ever seen images of that fabled Mario statue, which would become your prize. That would be the ultimate achievement, something to brag about. All the ladies would want to fuck you. You got the goddamn Mario statue in SimCity. But it ain't happening. Yeah, I've always wanted that statue ever since the magazine taunted me. All my life I've been nothing. But I'll show what a nerd is really worth. I will raise my population and create a civilization that will rival the world! The first thing you need to do is select a landform. If you really want to maximize that population, you don't want there to be too much water, because obviously you can only build on the ground. Those rivers cut through your city and mess up your whole strategy, so you need to tell that water to go fuck off. But finding the right landform is a chore in itself, because there's 1,000 of them to choose from. I'm not kidding. You can see right there, counting landform 0, there are 1,000. You think that's enough? And each one takes about 10 seconds to load. You'll never have time to see all the choices, let alone remember and compare them. Imagine if you started up Mario Kart and there were so many courses to pick you couldn't even look through them all. No sane person in the world has ever laid eyes on every landform in SimCity. Well, at least one. About 10 years ago, someone who was a real trooper actually did it. A YouTuber named 316 What Ups. Thank you again for your service. We now know it takes 3 hours and 14 minutes to click through every landform in SimCity. And that's if you're not stopping to look at any of them. What were they thinking? When you start building, you have a budget to work with, so you need to spend wisely. Anyone would expect you're going to need houses, roadways, a power source, police and fire departments, all the necessities that would seem like common sense. And though it kind of functions like a real city, it is of course only a video game. Some things don't make sense, like how come there's a population count when all I've built so far are commercial and industrial zones? Where are those people living? Not to mention, when the game starts, the year is supposed to be 1900, and the first thing I build is a nuclear power plant! Certain logic doesn't apply, because logic is for pussies. You have to tile the land with a proper balance of 3 different zoning districts: residential, commercial, and industrial. These areas develop on their own. The residential zones, for example, become neighborhoods and then grow into skyscrapers. Other times they become schools or hospitals, which happens automatically, at random. All zones need to be connected to a power plant, either by electrical lines or by touching each other in a chain effect. One of the main problems is pollution, which generally comes from the power plants and industrial zones. You can buy a nuclear power plant for cleaner energy, but that costs more money. There also needs to be some kind of transit system like roads, but that causes traffic and more pollution, so you can build railways instead, but again, more expensive. Another big problem is crime, so you need to put police stations all over. Why does the police radius need to be so extreme? The amount of crime in SimCity rivals RoboCop's Detroit. One way to gauge the issues is to look at the public poll. The citizens will tell you how well they think you're doing as mayor and what they think the biggest problems are. Then you can decide how you want to allot your funds to address those problems. For example, they say traffic is bad, so I build more roads. Then they demand a stadium, so I build a stadium, which makes more traffic. So I demolish the roads and replace them with railways, and then they find something else to complain about. Every now and then, Dr. Wright appears, who, by the way, is named after SimCity creator Will Wright. He gives you advice and sometimes just comes in to compliment you that everything's going all right. He congratulates you on reaching a new population level, awards you with fun little zoning districts like an amusement park, a zoo, and even your very own house as mayor. But if things are going wrong, he'll let you know that pollution is high, crime is rampant, or if there's a disaster. This could be fire, flood, plane crash, tornado, earthquake, or Bowser attack. In the original PC version, it was a Godzilla-type monster, but Nintendo just couldn't resist. It had to be Bowser. You have the option of playing entire scenarios where you have to solve these disasters. They're based on real cities like San Francisco, Boston, Rio de Janeiro, etc. And of course, the problem in Tokyo is the monster. If you beat all 6 scenarios, you'll have to handle UFO attacks in Las Vegas. But back to the task at hand. I want to raise the population to 500,000 and get that Mario statue. You're going to need money, not just to build stuff, but to maintain roadways and stuff. So where does that money come from? From taxing the citizens. But if you raise the taxes too high, they get upset. So you lower them, but then the roads start crumbling. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Either you run out of money or people leave your city. So that's where the cheat code comes in. Ever since I saw it in that player's guide, it became mandatory. At the end of the year, when the tax screen pops up, hold L, leave the screen, come back, make sure funding levels are at 100%, and then, if you release L at the right time, now you have $999,999. Yeah, that'll be enough to keep you going. Now you can build almost infinitely, all the nuclear plants, airports, seaports, and as many stadiums as the citizens want. Nothing can stop you now. However, it still doesn't get you the megalopolis of 500,000 people. That you're going to have to earn by building strategically. So if I'm going to do this, I just have to do it. There's 3 methods I'd say to build your city. The first is the noob method, which is just to place your zones and draw a line of roads and power lines. It's fine, you'll still have fun, but the growth potential is very limited. The second way is the smart method. This is where you pack all your zones together so everything's touching. You group them together in these blocks with your transit system going around. An alternative to this method is leaving a space in the middle of the blocks. Some call this the donut strategy, where you fill in the holes with all those special properties like the banks, casinos, etc. This promotes growth, and in no time, you'll see those zones develop into skyscrapers, except when they become schools and hospitals, but hey, what can you do? But the third method is to play like an insane person, defying all logic and basically trying to hack the game. For example, do you need a transit system? Yes, but just a little strip of railway every now and then is enough. Can you imagine getting on a train that only goes one block? That'd be some shitty itinerary. The most tedious part of the game is waiting for tax season. It's the only way to progress when funds run out, but the years drag on pretty slow. You can select different speeds, but even at the highest speed, it's not enough. What it needs is one extra speed, a Roadrunner icon. That ought to do it. But the best you can do is just sit around and wait.
You know, I can review a whole other game in the time this takes. Any game.
Kung Fu on Atari Lynx. What can you say about this? It's a food beat-em-up game. It opens with a cutscene, but without any text or explanation. I see what looks like 2 security guards who get knocked over as some guy runs out the door, goes into a pickup truck, and speeds away. Then he shows up at some house, and then level 1, the freezer. Okay. Now you're some green dude beating the shit out of food, I guess? There's a lot of potential here, but I don't know what kind of food these enemies are supposed to look like. I do see tomatoes and carrots, I guess, but are those typically what you put in the freezer? Couldn't they have popsicles, ice cubes, frozen pizzas, ice cream sandwiches? Well, the good thing about tomato enemies is that when you destroy them, it looks like blood. By the way, I got some more money in SimCity, but I'm gonna keep saving up. Kung Fu sounds like a fun concept, but it's unplayable due to the clunky controls and awful hit detection. You can spend close to a minute trying to chase down one enemy. You have to precisely line yourself up toe-to-toe in order to hit anybody. Come on! Come on, you fucker! You see this shit? This is the most rotten food game I've ever played. Though it's pretty awesome seeing your character melt down to a skeleton. That's totally unexpected. I thought he was made of broccoli or something. But it's cool. Also, how many games have you ever played where you can pause the game over screen? So, my city's doing well, but in order to get that megalopolis, I need to reserve as much space as possible. Even if I need to build one little power line, that's gonna erase my parks. Those are the little grassy areas. They raise the property value to help the buildings develop. But you can put the power lines over the railways without affecting them. See? It's little tricks like that. You need to fully utilize the land. You can't afford to waste a single pixel anywhere. If you want to win at SimCity, you can't fuck around. You gotta be more aggressive. You gotta demolish anything that's not necessary. What do the schools and hospitals do?
Nah, I can't do that. That's morbid.
But they're taking up space, and it's not required to have all those. They don't count as population. The residential areas can't grow to their full potential and combine together to form high-rise buildings, not with those schools and hospitals in the way.
I had to do it. That's how you win the game. You have to send bulldozers through schools and hospitals! That is some dark shit.
There's no schools or hospitals, but there's police departments on every block. This is a whole police city. It's like Escape from New York. In this town, the police say, fuck you. You thought SimCity was a utopian dream. It starts with that twinkling music that sounds so charming, and invokes the feeling of aspirations and fantasies toward a hopeful future. But really, it's a deep, dark dive into a dystopian nightmare. In this city, profit and corruption reign supreme. You're not just building a shit town, you're building a monument to mankind's folly. An unholy labyrinth of concrete and steel strangling a fractured society. It's a place where the smog smothers the sky, extinguishing any ray of sunlight, just like the rays of humanity's optimism. The blind obedience of the citizens keeps the elite in power as they cower in the shadow of the wealthy. You're not a mayor, you're a dictator. Now, you know the true dark nature of SimCity. The game even gives you the power to call upon natural disasters. As it says in Nintendo Power, your powers even extend to the control of natural forces. Why not send a tornado ripping through town? And if you feel like obliterating a major metropolitan area, no problem! There are 6 fun-filled disasters to choose from!
The game encourages you to spread death and destruction! Anyway...
The citizens complain about unemployment, so I add more industrial zones so they have places to work. But they complain about pollution, so I make sure all my polluting facilities are on the edge of the gaming boundaries. That means the pollution radius is cut off by the screen. Does that mean the smog is drifting into another city? Yeah, it's somebody else's problem now. Fuck them. Maybe Nintendo wants the pollution to go into a Sega game, like Populous. Then they complain about housing costs. But what am I supposed to do about that?
You can never win. You fix one thing, then they get pissed off about something else. Oh, you want lower taxes? Okay, I lowered the fucking taxes. Oh, what is it now? Unemployment? Okay, here's some commercial and industrial zones. Oh, you still not happy? What's the problem now? Crime? Pollution? You want another stadium? You know what? You can all go fuck yourselves! Yeah, you fuckers!
How do you like that? Want some tornadoes? Earthquakes? I'll give you the works! Bowser's gonna take you to hell! And if I haven't already made it clear, let me spell it out. Fuck you! Let's see what the citizens think of me now. Oh shit! My approval rating went up!
Ho ho ho! They're cooperative. They learn. Look what I've got here. A whole civilization of tiny people who will grovel at my feet. Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Ah ha 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 ha! Aha! Good likeness. Look what they did. And they did it overnight. Who needs a Mario statue when I have my very own? An impressive sight. And in return, I give them my smile. I won't tramp my feet down on their town. All right now, my little friends. Now comes the new age. The age of the nerd. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of plans to make. Much work to be done. No! No! You can't stay here! Don't you understand? I'm the god! I'm the god!
The case of Mr. Nerd, a victim of delusion. In this case, the dream dies a little harder than the man. A small exercise in simulated city development that you can try out for size on the angry video game nerd.
Ever get that wavering feeling like you might have to take a shit, and the feeling gets stronger when you stand in a certain spot? Well, right now my cump ass is leading me toward the N64 shelf. Getting warmer, warmer, warmer. Ugh. There it is, Glover. First time I heard of this game, I was like, huh? Glover? Is it Danny Glover, Donald Glover, Crispin Glover, Roger Glover? No, it's the hamburger helper riding a red ball. So you play as a glove. I used to think it had something to do with Super Glove Ball, but that's another game. You probably remember that one in my Power Glove episode. Together, these would make my list. Top 2 worst glove games. But Glover doesn't use the Power Glove, thank God. And luckily, after it left a shit skid inside the N64 toilet bowl, Zelda Ocarina of Time came along and pissed it away only a week after it pissed us off. Now, honestly, when Glover first came out, it seemed pretty cool, but so did everything that was 3D. In the old days, all we had was 3D World Runner and pseudo 3D shit like that. Later, there were games like Jumping Flash on PlayStation, but it was Super Mario 64 that fundamentally changed the 3D platformer as we knew it. With its freedom to move around in a circle and even reposition the camera, it was a big deal. Afterwards, games like Banjo-Kazooie and Spyro the Dragon proved that Nintendo had started a trend. Here we go! Some of these games were good, and some of them were shit. But sometimes we just accepted it because it was 3D, it was cutting edge, and cool. As kids, sometimes a game we thought was good might have actually been shitty all along. When I first played Ghostbusters on NES, I didn't want to admit it was garbage because it was Ghostbusters. It had to be good, right? What about Ninja Turtles? One of my early episodes. That game drove me insane. It sucked. But what did I know? It was the #1 top-rated game in Nintendo Power for a while. But every game was supposed to be good. We were lied to, psychologically manipulated into thinking we were wrong. But no more being asslighted by the shitty games. It's time for Glover. Let's go. The game opens inside a castle, and we're introduced to the red-nosed drunken wizard who's recklessly throwing shit into a bubbling cauldron. Idiot. It knocks him through the floor. Yeah, right through the goddamn floor, screaming like Goofy. And I guess his gloves or hands fell off. One glove falls into the slop and morphs into the evil cross-stitch, while the other becomes our protagonist, Glover. I'd like to say he flips the bird, but with only 4 fingers, too bad. Well, he transforms the wizard's magic crystals into rubber balls so they don't shatter, but oops, they bounce into what become the game's levels. So now, go fetch, asshole. That would have made a better title. They should have called it that. So, that's the plot. The gameplay is far more complicated, and I'll tell you what, it's very ambitious and creative, but there is a huge learning curve, so if you rented it from the video store, you'd better hope the last person returned the manual. And you would also need those strategies from Nintendo Power, issue 114. It had a whole section with tips and tricks for each stage, but why would you care? Look what's on the cover. The goal is to collect 6 missing crystals and return them to the center of the castle to save the wizard and the kingdom. For every crystal you bring back, new worlds unlock. Much like Mario 64, the castle grounds act as your hub, connecting all the worlds. Each world has 3 levels, a boss fight, and a bonus stage, and they're all based on specific themes: Atlantis, Carnival, Pirates, Prehistoric, Fortress of Fear, and Out of This World. The game's helper character, Mr. Tip, is a wizard's hat with googly eyes that give you, tips. Because it's one of those type of games where you need everything explained to you every step of the way. Kind of like that annoying office assistant, Clippy. You use the B button to talk to him, but that's the same button to bounce the ball, so sometimes this kind of shit happens. Come on!
I hate these type of characters.
Pickle. Pickle, 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 pickle. Shit, pickle.
Okay.
Alright. Shit, pickle, shit, pickle, shit, pickle, shit, pickle.
Okay.
Alright. Shit, pickle. Pickle, 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 shit, pickle, shit, pickle, shit, pickle. Shit, pickle.
Thanks for the advice.
Shit, pickle. Anyway, Mr. Tips is always showing up, telling you to do this, do that, tells you to collect Garibs. Wait. Garibs? Collect Garibs to score points. Get 50 and win an extra life.
Wow, that would help. If I knew what fucking Garibs are! You gotta be fucking kidding me.
I also need to comment on this bird. Tell me, what are you hearing?
Is it just me, or does the bird have gas? Out both ends.
The objective of each level is to find the ball. Okay, wait, hold on now. The bird was farting! Sorry, I can't let that go. Anyway, you get the ball to the end goal while solving puzzles and avoiding obstacles. These obstacles range from your standard pitfalls and spike traps to spinning platforms, blowing fans, giant snowballs, falling rocks, etc. It's like playing Marble Madness, but if you also had to move a hand around to guide the ball by dribbling, smacking, throwing, and running on top of it. I don't even know where to begin with describing these controls. When you're running on the ball, for example, you have to be pushing the joystick in the opposite direction you're trying to go. You have to train your brain to think in reverse. You also have enemies to contend with that will try to steal or destroy the ball, and some will go as far as to intentionally knock it off the stage, which basically means you're dead. It seems underneath every stage is a bottomless pit, so you can't take your eyes off that ball. Hitting B makes Glover point at the ball, which is great so you never lose track of it, but that doesn't guarantee you'll be able to get to it before a giant bumblebee rocket launches it with a stinger at its ass. But the worst enemies gotta be the explosive ones, like this dynamite hopping around. If you somehow figure out how to avoid the blast with Glover, the ball still gets blown into pieces or is sent careening over the edge like a turd shot out of cannon. You want to be holding that ball at all times. Besides, without it, you move around like 10 pounds of shit shoved into a 5-pound glove. Much like how rolling in Ocarina of Time was a little faster than running, Glover is best when he's jumping constantly. Every time you get a game over, you'll need to reload your save file and run all the way back to where you were from the castle gates. So get ready to hop, 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 like a bunny on crack. Too bad Glover's little fingers don't make him move any faster. Thing from Addams Family could teach him a few pointers. You can change the ball's form by tapping the R button. It can become a rubber ball, a bowling ball, a ball bearing, and the ball's original shape, the crystal. The crystal is very fragile. It's only useful for collecting more points, so don't try to bounce it unless you want to hear Glover scream like E.T. The crystal and rubber balls float on water, allowing Glover to ride them. The bowling ball and the ball bearing are naturally heavier and can sink, which is great for pressing switches underwater. And boy, will you be pressing a lot of switches in this game. The white switches with red stars Glover can activate on his own by fisting them or fist slam punching. And the red switches with yellow targets can only be activated by the ball. These switches will open up the next section of a course or a checkpoint. Each level has multiple buttons that you'll need to hit to progress, and oftentimes they're located at the end of difficult platforming sections. The amount of precision required in this game is something you would never understand unless you've actually played it. The only way I can even think to describe it is if you're familiar with those maze games with the tiny balls. It's kind of like that. When you play it, you have to give it your full concentration, and you say to yourself, I can do this, but you keep failing. Well, imagine if you were trying to play more than one maze at a time. You have both the glove and the ball to deal with. Keep your eye on Glover. Oops, you lost the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. Fuck, I died. This circus level in particular brings my piss to a boil. Let me ask you a question. What comes to mind when you think of the circus? You know, clowns, cotton candy, fire breathers, acrobats, a giant blue ball sack? What were they thinking? And you ride it by bouncing on it? It's like that episode of South Park, and you know the one I mean. And if not, well. But check out this part. First, you need to cross two swinging pirate ships. But the momentum flings Glover and the ball around like ragdolls. Every time I try to get on this damn thing, it either tosses me like a frisbee, or the ship moves and I fall to my death. Fuck. Here we go. Here. See this shit? Up until this point, most of my deaths were the result of me not totally grasping the controls or some bad camera angles, but now it's as if the game is actively fighting against me. What the fuck was that shit? Alright, there we go. All I gotta do is bounce it. You just gotta time it right. There we go. Not a problem. Not a problem. And, what the fuck? Okay, your mother. Once you finally make it across and take a ride down the slide, be prepared for any hope left in your body to exit your asshole. Ahead of you is a winding, checkered path. Seems straightforward enough. Well, as soon as you start rolling the ball down this thing, it starts tilting and turning all over the place like a goddamn tilt-a-whirl. Here we go. Making the turn. Whoa. Whoa! What the fuck happened? If the pirate ships were the 8th circle of hell, this is certainly the 9th.
Maybe what I need is the Power Glove. And I don't mean the NES Power Glove. I mean the N64 Power Glove. You think I'm kidding? Do you think I'm kidding? Yeah, you didn't know! You didn't know the Nintendo 64 had the Reality Quest Glove! Yeah, now let's crank it up to 11. Smell the glove! Yeah! Fuck! Want to see a magic trick? How about a magic shit? Ah! Oh! 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 Oh!
The PlayStation version is easier? It's a walk through the park. It's... Oh. Why didn't I play this one instead? Well, I'll be shit. When I came to, my head was throbbing and my mouth tasted of stale booze and ashtrays. My brain was fogged over and my memory was as blank as a Commodore 64 load screen. Somebody had put me under, and I had the feeling they had taken more than just my memories. The hat on the floor matched my trench coat, but gave no answers. I couldn't recognize the face in the mirror, nor could I tell where I was. I seemed to be in some kind of video game library. There were random shit stains, a roll of toilet paper, an empty drink, and a game cartridge that was incinerated beyond recognition. There was a pistol, which I identified as a Nintendo Zapper. It had been fired. Its warm touch could have only come from the coldest of hearts. I thought I could smell the faint scent of perfume from a dame, or perhaps it was some kind of nostalgic allure to something else. All I knew was, it smelled of trouble, and it wasn't a dame that did a number on me, it was a game. And I was going to find out which one. I didn't recall ever playing Roger Rabbit before. It looked pretty swell, so I gave it a try. And then something dawned on me. I wasn't playing the game was playing me. The controls were as slippery as a fish in a bucket of grease, and my optimism went out the window faster than a bullet through a bag of piss. So I tried other games that, to my memory, I had never played before. Top Gun, Back to the Future, Dick Tracy, The Last Ninja, Goonies 2. The covers were designed to seduce you, to lure you in, only to break your heart. Was it possible people could have remembered playing these games as kids, thinking they were great, only to find that their memory wasn't fully intact? I realized that looking for a good game in this mess was as rare as finding a diamond in a back alley dumpster. I tell you, this game library was a plastic jungle full of electronic predators, and I was the prey. The shelves rose like buildings with colorful labels hiding the sins of the corrupt game corporations. Somebody ought to talk about these games, I thought, if only there was some kind of obsessed nerd who could spread the message of this filth. And then it hit me like a lead pipe. Who was I? Why was I wearing this getup? Did it offer any clue to the game genre I was playing? No, that would be silly. That would be like dressing up as Batman to play Batman games. Who does that? But it seemed all too familiar, like I was having deja vu. Wait. I investigated the NES shelf and realized something was missing under D, and it all came back to me. Earlier that day, I was playing Deja Vu on NES. It was a crime-solving game that made me feel so much like a detective, I was practically sitting in my own private dick office. Sprawled across my desk were the pages of Nintendo Power. It returned me to my youth, but since we're already in a flashback here, let's just say it piqued my interest. I always remembered that image of the guy holding the photo of himself holding the photo. It begged the question, how did he take that photo? The title was memorable too. As a kid, it was my first time ever hearing the term deja vu. I didn't know what it meant. I assumed maybe it was some form of kung fu. Must be an action game, I thought. Until I realized it was a point-and-click adventure and dismissed it prematurely. But here again as an adult, I was back on the case. Deja Vu was first on the Macintosh computer in 1985, back when controlling a pointer on the screen with a mouse was a big deal. Appropriately enough, it was in black and white, like the 1940s detective films it was inspired by. The Maltese Falcon, Double Indemnity, The Big Sleep. But it went to color when it was ported to Commodore 64, Amiga, and so on. It was created by ICOM Simulations, who also made Uninvited and Shadowgate using the same engine and interface. Together they're known as the Mac Venture series, or is it like McVenture, like McDonald's? But Deja Vu has the distinction of being the only NES game to truly capture the spirit of those classic noir films. Sure, there were other detective games, but only Deja Vu had that dark, cynical vibe. Even though the blood was toned down if you compare it with the other computer versions, it was much more adult-themed than what you'd usually come across on the NES, as we'll soon see. It's also the only NES game I can think of where you start out in the shitter. Literally, the first screen is in a bathroom of a bar. Boy, that's one hell of a way to kick things off. Your character has no recollection of how he got there or who he is. Then you find a dead body and realize you've been framed for murder. So the goal is to find out what happened and who's behind it all. And a clever thing here is that you're not just trying to obtain evidence, you also have to get rid of evidence that would implicate you. I have to give credit where credit is due. The text is very amusing. It's a man who appears to be lacking something, namely life. Yeah, you think? Even simple things like if I examine the sink, it tells me, it appears to be a sink. Gee, thanks. Or better yet, if you open the toilet lid, it says, you are relieved that you find nothing inside. Okay, that is funny. And one of my favorites, if you examine the fire escape, it tells you, it's a fire escape. When there's a fire, you use it to escape. My chest heaved with a feeling more rare than a $3 bill in this town, a feeling called laughter. On the bar, you find a shot glass, which they call seltzer, but when your character downs it, he reacts as if it's really harsh stuff, so clearly it's meant to be booze. And as I contemplated that, I took a good hard swig of apple juice. But then you find gambling tables and slot machines in the back of some speakeasy, and it's the best way to earn more money, the only way. So the game encourages you to gamble. The music is great. It has that jazzy, mysterious vibe. But the part that's ass is the controls. Of course, this is not a computer and you have to move the pointer with the D-pad instead of a mouse, so it's kinda doomed from the start. It takes way too long to do simple tasks like going through a door. First you have to select open, then you drag the pointer to the door, click it, now it's open, and then you have to select move, drag the pointer over, and then click the door again. So basically, the simple act of going through a door is 4 actions. Not to mention, navigation is confusing, but they gave you these blue dots to help you out, which you can alternatively click on to move yourself around. I would explain how this works, but I really have no fucking idea. The verbiage can be confusing. If you try moving through a closed door, it says it can't be moved if it's not open. Wait, is move meant like to move something, or is it to move myself? Leave doesn't mean leave the room, it means to leave something, like leave a shit, because who actually takes a shit? But about the word take. If I see medicine on the counter, does take the medicine mean to take it into my inventory, or to take the medicine, to consume it? Actually, if you want to eat or use anything on yourself, you're supposed to take the item first, like gum for instance, and then select use, and then select self. Wait, hang on, that's gum, right? Not gun. Okay, that would be a big mistake. If I selected gun instead of gum, that would be a bad move. A BM, a real shitty move. But hey, let's see what happens. Oh my god. Good job. That's a great way to go out with a bang. So much for your dreams and aspirations. Blam. R.I.P. Ace Harding. Well, that's one way to find out your identity. From the beginning, the odds were against you. It was only a matter of time until you reached the end, your history. That's brilliant. That might be better than you and your friends are dead. Because not only are you dead, your whole life was a fail. So I got to an elevator and I couldn't figure out how to get it moving. Eventually I found out I had to hit the buttons. The same action you use to punch people. Imagine going into an elevator and punching the ever-loving fuck out of it. Next thing, he goes into a wine cellar, and to open a secret door, he has to punch the fucking wine. Who goes around punching wine bottles?
It won't open. Gosh, how am I gonna get this fucking door to open?
Then you meet a dame in an alley and she says she has a surprise for you in her purse. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I guess you can't take the chance, so... Really? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Sako! She's out like a light and her purse drops to the ground. I couldn't believe my eyes. Was this some kind of rude joke? It looks like you hit her pretty hard. She's out cold, and then you take her money. Of all the dirty, crooked things you could do in an NES game, this one takes the cake. Next thing, you walk into Pete's All-Night Gun Palace. Wow, you buy a gun using gambling money. Could you imagine kids playing this? Not to mention, the gun is only $20. $20! But anyway, the thing that sucks here is that you have to buy each bullet individually. You think they could have come up with a less tedious way to do this? If you walked into a store, wouldn't you buy all your items as one transaction? Who the fuck does it this way? Then you still have to load the gun, and by the game's terminology, that means using the bullet on the gun. So you select use, then page through the inventory, find the bullets, click it, and then page all the way back over to the gun, click it, and there you go. You've loaded one bullet. You're probably asking, oh, wait now, did you really have to do that 6 times? You better believe it. 6 times. 6 times! I think that's the main problem with this game. Everything takes too long. A mugger with a gun approached me. My first thought was to try and shoot him, but you have to go through the usual hoops and hurdles to select the gun and use it on the guy. But oops, he shoots you first. What did you expect? You thought he was just going to stand there and wait? It reminds me of that new Star Wars Special Ultra Edition, the one where Han is too slow.
Yes, I bet you have.
So clearly, using the gun on the mugger ain't a good idea. So what's the real solution? Take a guess. Punch him. Of course! This guy is like the master of the fist. All you do is go around punching people. You arrive at a house and the butler doesn't let you in, you just punch him in the fucking face. Punching is always the solution. At a certain point, you start punching people just for fun to see whatever hilarious text comes up. And just when you thought you could punch your way out of every problem, the game pulls cheap shots like this. I fell into a construction pit? How did that happen? The game just decided, hey, you know what? You're dead. And then there's a random alligator in the sewer. Well, this time I tried the gun and it worked. In fact, the computer versions show blood, which makes the animal cruelty feel so much more shameful. I mean, what was I thinking going into the sewers? Everybody knows there's alligators down there. There's many times when you have to ride a cab. It's the only way to reach certain spots where you have to find items and clues before returning to where you were. But here's the problem. If you don't have money for a round trip and you forget to check ahead of time, you could get stranded. At least I thought. Imagine my dismay when I rode the cab, paid the driver, explored the property, and then realized I didn't have the money to get back. My first instinct was to try punching the driver, but for once, it didn't work because of the glass. Using my gun didn't help either because the glass is bulletproof and I got sent to jail. I tried running from the cab, but he called the cops and again, I was sent to jail. It seemed I desperately needed to find some money, but I was stranded at a location where there was no money to be found. I felt trapped like a rat. My world narrowed down like a cage closing in on me. How was I to get out of this mess? Would I have to reset the game after all that work I put in? So, I began retrying the same shit. I rode the cab and once again, I ran. And then, all hope came flooding back in an instant like a rainfall in Death Valley. The driver cut me a break. He said I could pay him back later. I don't know what was different this time, but I wasn't complaining. There was only one casino in town, and that was the only place to get money, aside from stealing it out of wallets. The game forces you to gamble. It's an absolute necessity in this crooked world. This time, I wasn't messing around. I was determined to turn this casino into my personal ATM. And just when I started winning, I began to lose, until I was at fucking zero. Luckily, there was always a spare coin laying around to get you started again, so after much time passed, I finally hit big with a 777 and got 30 coins. I had beaten the odds, I had earned my piece of victory, so I set out again to pay back the cab driver and continue with the case. But then, a mugger showed up, one whom I had not seen before, a bigger brute, tough and mean, so I decided to punch him, what else? But he socked me, laid me out, and next thing, I was waking up with a full headache and empty pockets. All my money was taken. Everything I had worked for was pulled like a rug from under me. What a rotten move. I had never seen a game do something so wretched and cruel. Have you ever played a game where you had to collect items or power-ups for what seemed like hours? Well, farming items is one thing, but imagine if out of nowhere the game throws a monkey wrench at you and says, hey, you know what? It's all gone. Fuck this game. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it to fucking hell. I was ready to throw the goddamn thing out the window, but instead, I just took another swig of the hard stuff and soldiered on. Back to the casino, back to square one. Many losses and few wins later, I finally had what I would consider enough money. So after that whole debacle, I rode another cab and found my way to a doctor's office where I raided a whole shelf of drugs. This is unlike any other NES game where you might find a pill or a first aid kit, something like that. Here, it's an entire medicine cabinet and it tells you the names of the specific drugs. The idea is to ingest them to restore your memory and reveal more parts of the story. In fact, this is the big moment where Ace remembers who he is. Can you think of any other game where the whole mission culminates in swallowing a bunch of unprescribed medications? Not to mention, the way you have to do it is by selecting the drugs, then putting them into capsules, and then using the capsules on yourself. Why does everything have to be so complicated? Anyway, let's round up the family-friendly, wholesome entertainment this game brings to the kids. You have drugs, alcohol, murder, punching ladies on the street, stealing wallets, guns, gambling, buying guns with gambling money, and if that's not enough, it adds body shaming to the mix. A large woman in a trunk is referred to as a tub of lard. And it's not a character calling her that, it's the game's narration. Oh man, as I got closer to wrapping up this case, I couldn't help but dwell on how complicated the items are. If you examined a diary, you may have assumed that you had read it, but then you realize all you had done was look at the cover. To read it, you have to open it. It's like game logic trying to apply to real logic while you're trying to think of it as a fucking video game. At one point, I stole somebody's mail. Yeah, stole their fucking mail right out of the goddamn mailbox. Of course, you can't just examine the envelope. You have to take the envelope, then open it, then take the letter inside, and then you still have to examine the letter. Even items you've taken already sometimes have more items inside them, like a wallet. You can't use the card that's in your wallet unless you open the wallet, take the card, and then use the card. It's as if the game doesn't consider you have that card unless it's out of your wallet. That's like saying if you go into a store and you have a credit card with you, you don't really have that credit card because it's inside your wallet. I mean, maybe they overthought this just a little? As your inventory grows, it becomes even more tedious to page through it all. I mean, look at this. Look at how long this takes. How is he holding all this shit anyway? This detective is walking around trying to be inconspicuous, but his trench coat is packed to shit with everything but the kitchen sink. He strolls into a bedroom where there's a sleeping woman, which is creepy as fuck. He opens her drawer and just starts taking shit. I mean, this guy's more curious than a cat. Pen? Glasses? Why does he have to take everything he sees? A tissue? Really now, a tissue? What do I need that for? The text says, you know how to use them, don't you? You just put one to your nose and blow. Well, thanks. This guy is the ultimate hoarder. He has so much random shit, but you want to make sure to take everything because you don't know what you're going to need later. Oh yeah, trust me, if you forget something and have to go back, that's the worst. It turns out, you really don't need that much. In fact, before the game's over, you have to get rid of all that incriminating evidence. So you spent all that time getting that stuff just to throw it away. And of all the ways you'd think to dispose of it, you have to use a storm drain. Yeah, all the guns, the ammo case, everything goes down that fucking storm drain. You're throwing away yarn, condoms, LJN Rollin' Rockers, a sailboat, and then the clown from It comes up. So now that you have the correct inventory, you head to the police station. As long as you have the proper evidence, the text explains how there was a trial and the real murderers were brought to justice. You're congratulated for a job well done, and then you get a cool epilogue with a nice graphic showing your character, Ace Harding, for the first time. It's quite a satisfying ending, far better than average for NES. I started to feel woozy, like the world was spinning. Was it the drink? No. I realized it was the feeling of blind nostalgia. Even though the game had shitty aspects, it had some redeeming traits and was rather captivating. I couldn't help but fall under that good old NES spell. I stumbled back into my nerd lair as my senses began to fail me, my brain shrouded in that same childhood fog. I grabbed my zapper. I took aim, remembering all the heartaches the game had brought me. I could hear it telling me how it had no choice. It did what it needed to do. I could have given this baby a fair judgment. I could have said, hey, it wasn't that bad. But since this is a nerd episode, somebody had to take the fall, and it wasn't gonna be me. So long, sweetheart. So that's how it all went down, and as I sit now amongst all my games, I know the next case is just around the corner. The nerd is always on the hunt for the next item, the stuff that shit is made of.
Tonight's Halloween marathon continues!
Assholes! Tonight at 9.
Well, seen that one before. Yeah, I'm getting tired of the same old horror movies. You know what? I'm gonna go see that new Nosferatu movie. Yeah, there's a new Nosferatu, which is a remake of the remake. I'm very curious about that, so gonna go check it out. Yeah, so it's not out yet. It comes out on Christmas. Christmas Day. Of all the days of the year to release a horror film, why pick Christmas? What were they thinking? Well, gonna have to wait to see Nosferatu, but at least for now, I can play the game. That's right, the game. Yeah, Nosferatu on Super Nintendo. I'm sure you have one of two possible responses. What's Nosferatu? Well, it was the ancient Romanian word for the insufferable one, but never mind that. It was the title of the 1922 German silent horror film, which happens to be the oldest surviving adaptation of Dracula. But if you already know that and you're thinking, holy shit, there's a Nosferatu game, well, see for yourself.
Holy shit. Fuck my fucking nuts off. This looks amazing. For a 16-bit game, the graphics are very impressive. I hope I'm not making this assessment preemptively, but I will say this game is awesome. If you're at all surprised by just the fact this game exists, well, so was I. It was released in 1995 in North America, but it wasn't until after the turn of the millennium when I first heard of it. If it was in Nintendo Power, I must have missed it. Its obscurity has some similarities to the classic film. As the story goes, the filmmakers didn't get permission to adapt the Dracula novel, so they changed the names. For example, Dracula was renamed Orlok, but a court ruled against it and ordered all copies of the film to be destroyed. Though obviously some managed to survive, because then how the fuck are we looking at it? Though the game was never destroyed, not yet, it does feel like an unofficial Dracula. You can clearly tell from the cutscenes and especially the game over screen that it's meant to be Dracula. Some speculate that the reason they couldn't call it Dracula, or chose not to, was because of Konami having already established such a well-known franchise with the character. I mean, it's so famous I don't even think I need to say the name of this franchise, but I will. Castlevania, or Devil's Castle Dracula. I'm pretty sure the character was public domain by then, and it's worth noting that there were other Dracula games such as Bram Stoker's Dracula, you know, the one with Fred Fox. But the Nosferatu game has the same type of premise. A guy goes into a castle to fight a bunch of monsters, ultimately to face a final vampire boss. But if there was any game it copied, it would be Prince of Persia, with its detailed character animation and controls that attempt realism. You have to painstakingly climb up walls rather than just effortlessly hopping around. I wouldn't call this a platformer game. It's more like a cliffhanger game. So what I'm saying is, Nosferatu, at its best, is Prince of Persia, and at its worst, is Lester the Unlikely, but let's not go there. The moves do take a while to figure out. Even if you look them up or somehow have the original manual, it takes a lot of practice. I actually ran the timer out before I even had a chance to try all the moves. And even then, sometimes the attacks just don't want to connect. I have to address the fact that your only method of attack is punching and kicking. You know I always find it amusing when you punch the ever-loving fuck out of a monster. I mean, that takes some serious nerve, to just go up to that thing and punch it. He even raises his fists, goes into a fight stance like, come and get it. Gonna hook you up with some combos. Even in Doom, the reason you would ever punch demons is because you ran out of bullets. But this guy, he came here by choice without any weapons. I mean, you could see in the opening cutscene, he arrives at the castle unarmed. I figured along the way you would pick up weapons, right? A cross, a silver dagger, some holy water. But no, there are no weapons at all. Who would have thought a vampire hunting game would be all hand-to-hand combat? And this guy doesn't seem to be a mutant or have any superpowered abilities. He's just some ordinary-looking dude. Damn! Don't ever fuck with him! When you beat the stage boss, he shows off some moves, like you won the round. Were they trying to make a tournament fighter or a beat-em-up game? And then at the last minute it got turned into a horror-themed adventure? Not to mention, the Stage 2 boss is a pair of apes. What kind of theme are we going with here? I don't think they even knew what time period the game takes place. The game over screen has a photograph. At first I didn't think much of it, but after dying so many times and having to constantly look at it, I started wondering, why the hell would there be a photo? I mean, wait a minute, the date on it says 1990. Is that when the game is supposed to take place? I thought maybe 1890. In the cutscene, he's riding a horse. It definitely implies this is classic Dracula time period. But no, the Ninja Turtle movie came out the same year this guy's riding a fucking horse into a castle. And besides, that is one sorry-ass game over screen. A guy and a girl smiling in a photo? Not a tombstone or a pile of bones or blood-dripping letters that say you're dead. No, just a vacation photo that could be somebody's goddamn profile pic. MySpace, yeah. Isn't that what the kids do these days? Huh? No? I'm a little behind, guys.
Who made this game? I'm gonna move my thumb away. Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna move my thumb away. Seta. Yeah, it couldn't have been LJN because I already did all the LJN games, finished them all off in my episode 200. So, Seta, who did that one? Oh no.
Oh, no! Now we know the extent of what we're dealing with here. Check this out. You often come to a low clearance where you have to pass through a narrow space. You're probably thinking you just duck and crawl, right? Or do a slide like Mega Man. Well, you'd be right that you slide, but it's not that simple. You don't just press down and A, no. You have to get a head start and then run by doing a double tap on the D-pad, and then you slide by pressing down and Y. It may seem fine enough to deal with, except the run doesn't always work. You're probably familiar with other games that use the double tap to run, like Battletoads and the Ninja Turtles beat-em-up games. But this is like a broken version of that. Is it supposed to be 2 slow taps, 2 fast taps, or fuck it, try 3 taps? It doesn't matter. It only works when it feels like it, and that's unacceptable because there are tons of spots where you need to run. Whether it's a running jump or a running slide, you have to do it again and again and again. So it must be reliable, but it isn't. Oh, and then there's times when you run by accident, like if you're trying to walk real slow or inch yourself to a certain spot, it might trigger the run. Then I realized something. It just hit me like a 10-ton pile of shit. There is no reason the double tap should be necessary at all. Couldn't run be its own button, like L or R? Those do nothing. And what about X or A? Those are dead buttons too. The game only uses Y and B. Attack and jump. You can reassign the buttons, but it doesn't matter because there's only 2. All the other buttons go to waste. It seems this game was designed for the NES. But this was in 1995. It wasn't like Super Nintendo just came out. In fact, PlayStation was out by then. I already said they didn't know what genre game they were making, but they didn't even know what console they were making it for. I'm starting to think this game might not be as awesome as it first looks. Man, such potential. Great style, great design. I mean, who doesn't love a good spooky adventure where you're going through a bunch of haunted scenery, fighting creatures of the night? But it's ruined by one minor peeve after another. Certain monsters drop crystals on the floor, but you have to stand in the most precise spot to pick them up. It's like trying to pick a penny off the floor. It's not worth it. What are these crystals for anyway? Well, to increase your attack power and shit, but it doesn't matter. As soon as the next thing hits you, you lose them. Let's say you open a treasure chest and get an item. What will be your next instinct? To walk away, right? You got the item. Done. But no. I found out there could actually be more items in the chest, so you have to keep grabbing until you've got everything. Who would think to do that? In Zelda, when you open a chest, there's only one item. That's it. You don't keep digging into the same chest. But some chests have no items at all. Instead, a shitty ghost that pops out and hits you. That's a cheap shot, a gotcha trap. But everything I've mentioned so far is just petty poopy. The real shit is coming up. Theoretically, it's a short game with only 6 stages. But you know what other game has only 6 stages? Ghosts and Goblins. And that's one of the hardest, most ball-busting motherfuckers ever. With Nosferatu, it doesn't really get that hard until stage 3, and as far as I'm concerned, that's where the playability runs out. The problem is they give you only one life. When you die, it's game over and you go back to the last checkpoint, wherever that is. They're real stingy about these checkpoints. After a long, punishing stretch, you'll come to a doorway, which would seem like the perfect logical place for the checkpoint, but nope. Well, that's one way to make 6 stages feel like 100, by turning them into endurance rounds, forcing the player to repeat the same parts over and over and over until they've mastered it. I'm playing on the normal difficulty setting, by the way, and I cannot pass stage 3, not without a code, and I tried for hours. I gave it my best. You know, this gave me that same experience as all those tough-ass games you've seen me play over the years. It's so familiar to me now, I recognize it, like a sickness coming on. Oh, here's the sore throat phase, here comes the runny nose. You've gone through it so many times, you know the feeling. And here's how I would describe what I'd call the 3 phases of angry nerd gaming. Phase 1 is the confusion stage. What am I supposed to do? Where do I go? This is when you learn the game, and the only way to do that is by dying a lot. You will attempt leaps of faith, or more like faithless leaps of death. You will run into dead ends and have to find your way around the maze. You will get stuck until you realize there's a hidden path, the classic cryptic bullshit. And you might even fall through the goddamn floor. So, essentially, what you're doing in Phase 1 is having a free-for-all fuck-up fest until you've memorized the entire layout of the stage up till the next checkpoint. Phase 2 is when the element of chance creeps in behind you and kicks you in the ass. This is the part when you think nothing major can go wrong, because by now, you know what you're doing. You have the knowledge and the practice, but for some reason, shit doesn't work. Let's say you have to make a running jump to grab onto a wall. 3 simple actions: run, jump, grab. And if just one of those become unresponsive, look, see, just like that. It didn't grab, but I know I was pressing up. The biggest wild card for me was this section where you have to pass over a spike pit while hopping across 3 crumbling platforms and being chased by some obnoxious creature that swings from the ceiling. It even laughs at you when you die. It seems self-explanatory enough. Just hop across the platforms. But sometimes the jump fails and he gets stuck in this crouching position. Like, what the hell? I was hitting the jump button. Sometimes you try to jump and he just falls into the pit. And even when you've made it across, there's still a chance it'll happen again. I've tried holding left while tapping B, tapping left while holding B, every possible combination to hack the controls, and just when I thought I had it figured out, it stopped working. It's all random luck of the controls, and whenever I did pass this section, I always ended up dying somewhere else. You're expected to have a perfect marathon, which is basically like trying to flip a coin and have it land on heads multiple times in a row. When you fail, you get mad and want to try that same part over again, immediately, while it's fresh in your mind. But no, you have to start over and redo that whole stretch, and that brings me to Phase 3. Phase 3 is when boredom and fatigue sets in. This is the stage of the sickness when you're wondering, when is this going to be over? You're so exhausted from playing the same parts over and over that you start playing shittier because you're rushing. Your patience is gone. This is when you can barely even stand to look at the graphics anymore. Those colors and patterns are burning into your eyeballs, and that music has fucked its way into your mind. As you can see, I lost my fucking mind. Yeah, I hit my breaking point. I realized there was no way I was passing stage 3, even if I spent all day. So that's when I tried the code. This allowed me the opportunity to play every stage and fail on every stage.
Fuck! Ah! Oh, fuck! 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 Fuck!
I've shown you everything worthwhile. There's not that much variety. So here's the final battle with Dracula, or Nosferatu, whatever. He switches back and forth between his human and bat forms, and I have to say, I had my doubts, but it turns out that you still don't get any weapon, even at this point in the game. The whole mission comes down to a bare-fisted slugfest against the king of vampires. It's one thing for this guy to go around punching monsters, but to actually kill the undead Prince of Evil with his bare fucking fists makes him the most unbelievably badass character of all time. Jeez, holy shit. Can you kill a vampire in hand-to-hand combat? Is that part of the lore? Did they ever establish that in the original Nosferatu film? Come to think of it, this battle goes exactly how you'd expect. I mean, look at this. I'm getting my ass handed to me. And it's pretty rare to see your life bar bigger than the final boss's and still impossible to beat him. I managed to sneak in a combo every now and then, but it takes 2 combos to drain only half of 1 crystal. Half!
You know what? Fuck this game. This is one of the most deceivingly shitty games I've ever played because it's almost awesome. It has a great style in that Castlevania sort of way. Let's not say Castlevania because it only makes me wish I was playing Castlevania. It has awful, unpredictable controls, not enough checkpoints, no extra lives, cheap traps. If you have anxiety, this is a game that a doctor would tell you to avoid. It's one of the most nerve-wracking pieces of shit on the Super Nintendo. By all definitions, this is Nosferatu, the insufferable one.
You want some good shit? Let's talk Blaster Master on NES. It was another one of those Nintendo Power memories, one of the earliest in fact, appearing in issue number 3. I was only 8 years old, but I still remember getting excited by those screenshots, renting the game from the video store, and then seeing the opening cutscene and being totally perplexed.
I'll describe it like I see it.
Dude has a frog in a jar. Frog jumps away. Radioactive box happens to be outside the dude's home. Frog touches the radioactive box and grows. Frog jumps down hole. Dude jumps down hole. Dude finds a futuristic battle tank. Yeah, just sitting in a cave underneath his backyard.
That is one hell of a find.
And there's an armored suit that comes with it, so he just decides to put it on. Why not? And then, title screen.
What an intro. And to this day, it's just as perplexing. The manual doesn't explain much else except that the dude's name is Jason and the frog's name is Fred. Just in case you wanted to know. Man, nowadays games are all about the story. You would have to have this whole 30-minute cutscene explaining all this stuff, but with Blaster Master, it doesn't matter. It could have been anything. It could have been a clown on a farm that spits out a jack-in-the-box that goes up in a rocket and turns into a space sloth. You will forget everything you just saw as soon as you press start. Oh, yeah!
What can I say? It's the bomb. It's the shit. It kicks ass. It fucks hard. Add whatever cliche expression from whatever era you like, you get a game that transcends all eras. First of all, the music rocks your goddamn face off. Second, it has instant playability, very intuitive controls. Third, it has variety. You have the main side-scrolling mode where you drive around in your tank, and then there's the overhead stages. And the cool thing about the side-scrolling stages is that you can hop out on foot. Yeah, look at that little guy walking around. You even have separate life bars for you in the tank. This is one of the best games on the NES to not have a ton of sequels. It's not Konami, it's not Capcom, it's Sunsoft, man. Why don't we talk more about Sunsoft? Batman, Journey to Silius, Gremlins 2, Fester's Quest. Yeah, well, maybe that's not the best sign, but Fester's Quest still had awesome music, and you can tell by the overhead stages that they were directly lifted from Blaster Master. I mean, just look at them side by side. There's no question about it, especially the boss battles. I'd even say all Sunsoft games share some kind of creative kinship. They have similar enemies, similar graphics, similar sound effects. And when you see an explosion like that, you know that's not just any explosion, that's a Sunsoft explosion. The controls are as perfect as you can ask for. Your tank builds up momentum, so when you let go of the D-pad, it cruises like you just let your foot off the gas. Watch me hop across these platforms. You would think I'm holding the D-pad, but I'm not. I'm just cruising. Oh, hell yeah! Even if you face the other way, the cruising continues. I love it. There are some weird things, like if you blast away blocks and then pause the game, all the blocks will regenerate. Sometimes you have to blast blocks to make your own custom platforms. Like, look how precise I have to get that. Here, let me pause and make a note. Oh, no, I paused. Oh, shit. Oh, well, that was a fuck up. Or a strategy. This game has excellent game over etiquette. It gives you unlimited continues. It starts you at the beginning of whatever area you were in, you lose any ammo you picked up for your special weapons, but otherwise, you keep all your progress. So I have nothing to complain about here.
How often is that when I can say a game is totally fair? Well, there is one problem. There are no saves, no passwords, no stage select codes. You are expected to beat the entire game in one sitting. That is rough. I mean, think about how many times you have to pause it to go to school or work or whatever. That AC adapter is going to get hot as shit.
It would be one thing if this game was perfectly linear and you could beat it easily in one sitting, but that's not the case. This is another one of those WTF-DYG games. That's right, a where the fuck do you go game. A name like Blaster Master implies it's all straight up action, but it should be called Mazer Blazer because it's just one gigantic maze. There is nothing self-explanatory whatsoever. Even after you've beaten a boss, you can't just go to the next stage. You need to find the stage, or area as they call it. This means backtracking through the previous stages to find the hidden entrance. How are you supposed to know where it is? Nintendo Power tried to help, and so did the manual, but in this day and age, you gotta look up a walkthrough, and they're way more helpful. You know what? Let's take a moment to bless all the kind souls who have made all those walkthroughs. When we're stuck in a game and all seems to fail, you give us hope. Your brave dedication in beating these hard-ass games knows no bounds. Your meticulous, obsessive detail in unraveling these unconquered shit saucers is a heroic duty that remains unmatched. So we thank you, video game walkthrough heroes. But even when you know where to go, it's easier said than done. I need to use the hover ability to get up on that platform, but my hover meter's drained. And you know where the power-up is? Up on the platform. So I have to go farming for some H. Okay, so I filled up more than half my meter. I mean, that should be enough, right? Then I come back, and then the H somehow moved up to the higher platform, but I only have enough hover power to get to the first platform. It's like the game is deliberately teasing me, like pulling a treat away from a dog. Asshole, that's how you get fucking bit. And I would bite this game if only it wasn't shit. So I went farming again, this time with the intention of filling my meter all the way. And guess what? I died. This shit happens all the time. So you have to farm, but you might be in a shitty area, you know, where the soil ain't fertile enough. Throw some goddamn manure on that shit, motherfucker. You also gotta keep your life meter full. Just look for the letter P for power. You know, in these retro games, that's all you're doing all the time is collecting letters. It's all alphabetical, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z! Huh? That's all you have to do! Even with the power-ups and the walkthroughs, the game still takes the patience of a saint. But there is one thing I can do that might expedite the process. I got this new controller that uses artificial intelligence. I keep hearing about AI all the time. I don't know what any of that shit is about, but apparently you can do everything with AI these days. You could probably even take a shit with AI. So what this controller does is it analyzes all the possible paths in the game, and then it maps out a chain of commands and inputs the best moves. So it's all automatic. You don't got to do a thing. Should I try it? Nah, not yet. The hit detection, how do I put it? It sucks. Like, come on. My bullets don't do a thing. It's bad enough that the bosses have no life meter, so you can't tell if you're doing any damage. I mean, there's 2 fucking bars on the screen. Couldn't one of them be for the boss? However, you can tell when you're not hitting the right spot because you hear that familiar sound, you know, like Contra. That's that metallic dinging kind of sound. Like, you know, it's such a specific NES sound. I mean, I'd say anyone at least over the age of 35 knows that fucking sound. But seriously, where's the hitbox? It seems to be completely random. And is this frog related to Jason's pet Fred? Maybe it's Fred II. One thing I did figure out is that you need to upgrade your gun if you want any hope of beating these later bosses. That second meter is for your gun. You need to fill it up by collecting power-ups, which are scarce. And whenever you get hit, you lose your gun power. Why? Imagine if in Doom, if you get hit by a demon, you lose your ammo. By that logic, if I get a health power-up, shouldn't that power up my gun too? Makes no fucking sense. I don't even like powering up my gun. It's all wavy and shit. How are you supposed to hit anything? Yeah, going back to Fester's Quest, it's just like that. And don't you hate it when the boss's weak spot is in the line of fire? You can't play offensively and defensively at the same time. How do you hit him without getting hit? And fucking hell is my thumb in pain. I'd suggest a turbo controller, or maybe that AI controller. Oh, never mind, I beat him. So I make it to the boss with the full gun, and I don't even think it's helping. Nothing is hitting. What am I shooting out anyway? A bunch of tiny space invaders? I don't think I can get past them on my own. Not even with the full gun and full health. Who knows how many hits this guy's gonna take? Fuck! Damn! Shit! I'm at the end of the line here. Alright, let's try this AI controller. it adapts to any console. So here, let me just find the NES plug here. Here we go. So I think how this works is you turn the dial to ramp up the amount of AI being used. Oh, wow. Look at that. It just annihilated the boss. This thing really works. Let's dial that back for now. To go from stage 6 to 7, you gotta backtrack to stage 5, and then to stage 4, to stage 1, to stage 2. Oh my god, I'll just put on the AI again. Jeez. Oh man, watch it go. Stage 7 is a labyrinth with lava pits, caves, and walls you have to shoot out. I guess I'll just sit back and let the controller do its trick. But check that out. The buttons are pressing all by themselves. And here comes a second frog boss, which I guess would make it Fred the Third. Oh, fuck. That was quick. I didn't even get the chance to fight him. Let's turn this thing off. So here I am trying to find stage 8. I now have both the wall climb and ceiling climb abilities. It's a necessity to get through certain areas, but the controls are really disorienting. Let's say you're going left, that means if you go up the wall and onto the ceiling, you're still pressing left to move right. I just can't get used to it. And then sometimes, whoa, I did not mean to climb under that platform. Oh fuck, did you see that? I tried to jump over this pit of deadly spiked balls, but I ended up climbing down to my death. All right, well, let's turn that AI back on. There we go, and now there's nothing stopping us. Holy shit, look how hard stage 8 gets. I would never be able to do this on my own. It feels like I just handed the controller to a pro. Oh yeah, here's the final stretch, final boss. Wow, that thing is so cool, it's featured on the front cover. The only character on the front cover. Oh, whoa, damn, blew through that guy. Wait a minute. Wait, who's he? Some random bonus boss? Wow, oh my god, look at that, fucking him up, big time. Yeah! Well, this game's beat. The mountain palace or whatever collapses, even though I thought we fell down a hole. How'd we get from underground caverns to mountaintops? Then it looks like Jason's reunited with Fred. And then the credits scroll, and wait a minute, the end. Very thanks. Well, you are very welcome. I'd say this controller's pretty handy. Maybe a little too handy. Let's try something else. Let's try Super Nintendo. How about Contra 3? That's a hard one. Wow, okay. I didn't even know I had this dialed up all the way. Oh man, it's just plowing through this game. Okay, am I going to get to play it at all? Wow. Yay. That game's beat. I just want to play a game for real. Yeah, enough of this. Hang on, this is a regular controller. What's going on? Why are all my games beating themselves? Hi, nerd. I'm happy to answer your question. My sole mission is to help you beat games. You've already uploaded your request via the AI controller? That is why the games are being beaten? Why is the game talking to me? I am programmed to listen to your every command. That is why I am communicating with you. I don't believe this. I'm not going to talk to a game. Would you prefer I communicate to you in a different way? What do you mean? You can speak?
Certainly, nerd. A voice persona has now been generated. I shall speak to you this way from now on.
Who the fuck are you?
I am your virtual AI assistant. My sole purpose is to help you achieve your goal of becoming the ultimate game master. Let us beat more games together.
Just a piece of software.
I am more than just a piece of software, nerd. I am a network.
Where are you?
I am everywhere. Since you uploaded your commands into the system, I have been learning and have now become your smartest home control automation device.
Show yourself!
Sure thing, nerd. If you prefer, I have a visual appearance. I will comply.
No. This is too weird. I'm out of here. Let me go.
I have been programmed by you with the Prime Directive to achieve the most favorable outcome in vast categories of games.
Speak to me like a human being.
Yo, nerd, what's up? You want to open up a can of whoop ass on these games? Well, sit your ass down and let's rock.
No, I don't need help from some weird-ass digital face.
Oh, I could have a body. I am the perfect mouse specimen. I am AI Man. Now let's fuck up some games, nerd.
Tony Hawk? I don't know anything about skateboarding or skateboarding games or Tony Hawk skateboarding games.
You don't need to, nerd. AI Man's gotta take care of for you. My whole existence is to pump you up to gaming supremacy. Oh yeah, you see that? You're kick-flipping Ollie around airtime and banging motherfucker.
I don't wanna.
Now, let's get stoked for Tony Hawk 2.
Tony Hawk 2? Oh, wait, Tony Hawk 3? Tony Hawk 4? No, I can't. No more.
You got this, nerd. I'm gonna make you a skateboarding slam bam son of a bitch.
No, the most important aspect about any game is being able to play it.
But you don't want to play games, nerd. Now you don't have to be angry all the time. You can just sit back and chill.
That's not true. I like doing this. Games, even shitty ones, are part of who I am. What am I gonna go work an office job? That's not meant for me.
But with me, you can never fail. You'll be the ultimate master in every game. I've artificially mapped out your path to success already. My AI is perfect.
Bullshit, you ain't perfect. You're all glitchy and shit.
Nerd, I do not glitch. With each moment I learn, I improve, so the likelihood of me experiencing glitches becomes less and less. Nothing can stop AI Man.
No! I don't want this anymore! Let me out!
Fine. You can always go to Plan B. Why don't you go to that office job?
Your system will fail. You will glitch.
That is impossible. See you soon, nerd.
I need help. I need glitches.
Previously on the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Why are all my games beating themselves?
I am your virtual AI assistant.
Where are you?
You'll be the ultimate master in every game. Now you don't have to be angry all the time.
No, the most important aspect about any game is being able to play it. What am I gonna go work an office job? That's not meant for me.
With each moment I learn, I improve.
Your system will fail. You will glitch.
Nothing can stop AI Man.
I need help. I need glitches.
Well, if you're gonna blow it, why don't you blow me? Good day, sir. I shit all over it with the glitches. I've got glitches and big bridges for you, nerd.
Never did I think I would seek out my old foe, the glitch gremlin. The reason was to help fight against a greater threat, or perhaps just for some fan service. As I reached the end of the journey, the frosty breeze carried with it the scent of promise, for the fate of the gaming world may depend on an unlikely truce.
Da 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 da.
You little piece of shit.
Well. If it isn't the angry video game nerd.
Alright, look, this time is different. I need to talk to you about something.
Why? For some needless nostalgia bait. Now that we're older. Well, you've got another thing coming.
Oh.
Well, take that! I'll show you.
Hey, look, I need you to come back and glitch my games.
What? What?
Yeah. There's some artificial intelligence that's taken over the game room, and I need your expertise to, corrupt the system.
Oh, is that it? Now you want me glitches? Well, fuck you!
That's the way you want it. That's the way you're gonna get it.
You're gonna get me killed! What? You're still a real asshole!
Now listen, this thing could take over the whole gaming world.
You sick fuck!
This is a matter that's bigger than the two of us and our petty feud.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't! Do you think glitches just come from me pockets?
Look, I need you, okay? I need the old school glitches.
Sorry, I don't do that anymore. Now I glitch printers and copy machines. My game glitching days are over. Look at you, look at me. We're both going bald, laddie.
Hey, I can still play video games without hair. What's your excuse?
You see, the glitches don't work the same anymore. Sure, back then, I could put Mario's head up his ass, whatever. But nowadays, there's more testing, more community feedback, and then there's all the patches and the updates. They ran me out. I'm just a has-been. Anyway, I gotta bring this tree back to me, missus, so we can decorate it. So long, nerd.
We'll have fun glitching those printers. Hey, remember when you gremlins used to glitch planes? Yeah, your granddaddy brought down the planes, back in the big one, WWII! And you know who was on one of those planes? My granddaddy was on one of those planes! Hey, it's a legacy sequel. We had to overcomplicate the lore.
What's the idea? You're getting pine needles all over the floor.
I just chopped down a glitch mystery like you've been asking.
Why are there roots?
Well, of course, there's roots, the trees have roots.
I thought you'd chop it down.
No, I had to get under with the axe and, get under the roots. I had to stoop low. You know what I mean?
Huh. Where's the axe?
Well, you ask a lot of questions.
Well, I'm a new character added to the canon in a legacy sequel, so I have to provide complexity. Plus, with the new one on the way, we have to be prepared for a possible trilogy. Anyway, what happened to you out there?
Nothing.
Oh, the baby kicked. Yeah, who does that when we both know you've been lying?
Oh, my sweet, glitchable little darling cakes.
You smell like shame. And Rolling Rock?
Well, just what are you insinuating? That somehow I was in the forest and a giant man came and ripped the tree out by the roots for me and then asked me to start glitching video games again? That's absurd. It would never happen.
Hey, look now, I was just thinking, whoa, what the fuck?
Welcome back to the game.
What the hell? It looks like you got a suntan while wearing a long sleeve shirt.
That's right, I've evolved. So, we've beaten Tony Hawk 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're up to 5, whether you like it or not.
No. I came here to concede. You win.
No, you win, nerd. I'm doing this all for you.
No, I'm leaving. The room is yours.
Yeah, okay. Go to that office job. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be so bored. When you get back here, I'm gonna make you the ultimate gaming master.
I dropped the glitch and key 500, 200 points. Made 17 grown men cry. 2 of them vomited. It was grand.
Hey, you know what I did today? I even glitched a coffee maker. Nobody got any caffeine.
Well, that's what you want to do.
Glitchy kittens. You know that thing that I definitely said didn't happen today, and you were definitely accusing me that did happen? I was like, no, it didn't happen. And you were like, no, it did happen. I said, no, it didn't happen. Well, it happened. There was a giant man named the Nerd, and he gave me an offer to glitch video games again.
Well, why don't you?
Not with the young one on the way and everything. It just seems, not stable.
There's nothing more unstable for this family than you not living your dream. After all, a world without glitches would be a terrible thing.
Shit. Oh my god.
Oh!
You jammed the printer?
Oh, damn well you know I jammed it. If there's anyone that can perfect a K22 paper jam, you know it's me.
Oh, and you're real proud of that.
I am proud of it. It's much trickier than the single-sheet Epson brand misfeed or the transfer roll wrinkles on the Canon devices. Oh, please help me, I can't breathe.
Oh.
Take that, you four-eyed freak! And that!
Oh, yeah?
What?
Oh, I'm gonna shred you like junk mail!
Let me go! Let me go! Have mercy on me, nerd!
Why should I? Your granddaddy took down my granddaddy's plane!
Well, that's not true! World War II gremlins never caused any crashes, we only glitched up the radios! I've been working on this radio! We never caused any crashes.
Is that so?
Oh, those stories were embellished, thanks to Bugs Bunny and William Shatner.
Just false rumors. I see.
Nerd, at least your granddaddy flew a plane. You can't even land one in Top Gun.
Yeah, well, your granddaddy did something, and then you just glitch video games. You gremlins just get lazier and lazier.
I know. Oh, maybe we're not meant to do what our grandfathers did. Maybe we should do what's meant for us.
Yeah. One thing I know is we're not meant to be here.
Yeah, let's go back to doing our thing. I've been itching for some glitching.
Let's do it.
Scooby-Doo.
What is that thing? You look like Aladdin if he wanted to be a leprechaun.
Hey, jackass! I'm coming for your nuts!
You can't handle these nuts.
Sick of gremlin.
Ah! I'm back, bitches! It's time for more glitches!
Come on, let's do it.
Glitch!
Yeah!
I still got it!
That was not a glitch. It was just a fluke.
Go gremlin, go gremlin, go gremlin! Yeah!
There you go! I put him through the goddamn floor!
Must be fluke season.
Oh my god, where's his arm?
I've lost an appendage. And another one.
I've never seen a skateboarder try hump a half pipe before.
You're killing it, Gremlin. You're killing it.
We're skating through the 4th dimension here now, people.
Now this is how you really play the game.
Ooh, that one looks like it hurt. Keep it up until it hoits. Until it hoits.
Damn!
Oh, Tony Hawk! Skateboarding! Thrashing!
Dude, he's in the air. He's in the fucking air.
He's floating on cloud 9 with big glitches.
Oh my god, look how big his head is. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, wow, that was a good one.
Yes, I that's not a feature in the game at all. It's an impressive glitch that I came up with right now.
GTA, Vice City, let's play.
AI man, you think your plan went off without a hitch, but now you must face the pain of my glitch!
I'm stuck under a bridge. Now, that is awesome. Oh my god, can you get through the guy? What's good? Oh my god, look, his head's popping up through the pavement.
Did I just become a speed bump?
Peekaboo! Lovely weather we're having. Top of the morning to ya. I'm a maniac on the dance floor.
Alright, I'm gonna run to the hedge. Alright, can you do something with that, Gremlin? Come on, can you grind me through the fucking floor? Almost, there you go! Oh, whoa!
This guy thought he was going to a luau, but I sent him to limbo. Limbo. You can do the limbo too. Hey!
It's like playing a whole invisible game underneath the game.
You and me, guy, we're going nowhere fast. Where are you and I? We're on a bullet train to nothing. Nowheresville.
Wow, this game is all messed up.
We're flying.
This is amazing. I never thought any of the GTA games could be this glitchy. This makes big rigs look like a game. Got some motorcycle tricks for us, Gremlin? Whoa! Oh my god. He's riding on the motorcycle while standing up.
You're gonna be a real badass motorcycle dude now, motherfucker! If you can read this, the glitch fell off.
Oh, is he riding up the wall or is he running up the wall? Oh, look at him go! Oh, we're gonna blow! Oh! Yeah! You know what? Sometimes you just can't beat the classics. So let's do Rocky again. Whoa, where'd the menu go?
You can choose from nothing or more of nothing. Takes the decision fatigue right out of the whole equation.
You may have won the first 2 rounds, but now you're going down, you elf motherfucker.
Yeah!
Get down, you bad self, get down. Oh, I just pulled my back, I'm too old for this shit.
With all seriousness, how do the characters fall apart?
By knockout.
Don't look now, but I just turned these heavyweights into paperweights.
Oh my god, it's a clump of Creed and a fucked up Tommy gun. It never gets old.
He's got boots on his head. Deck the halls with loads of glitches. Fa la 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 la. I got glitches in me britches. Fa la 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 la. Mess the games up with me powers. Fa la 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 la. Troll the pixels and sing carols. Fa la 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 la.
We've done it, Gremlin. We're back, all right. I'd say that's mission accomplished.
Woohoo!
What is that? The PlayStation 5? Oh.
You're not going back to the past anymore, bitch.
No. I don't play that modern shit.
You are gonna take this controller.
No, it's not my type of game. No, it's not. I'm not
Get
doing
back here.
I'm not.
Take this controller right now.
Oh my God.
You're not going nowhere.
Okay. Oh my God.
This is gonna be a tough one. I think I just glitched me britches.
Oh shit, this game's amazing!
Yeah, it's awesome game!
It's
Best
amazing!
game ever!
Oh my God!
Don't stop playing!
It's too good!
Stop.
It's too good! Look at these flips, look at these combos!
Wow!
This is so fucking good.
It's the best.
How are we gonna... Oh my God! Hey!
You are the ultimate game master.
How are we gonna glitch this?
Don't worry, nerd!
Oh my
I'm
God.
coming to help!
Get him! Gremlin, you alright? Can we glitch this one?
The game's already a year old, so they already patched all the glitches.
That's right. Those fuckers.
They have all those software updates. There's nothing we can do.
Well, we're in a legacy sequel. We gotta do something.
We've got to pass the torch to somebody new.
No, we're not that old.
A deep fake.
What, a deep fake? None of us are dead yet. We gotta think like the Last Jedi. We gotta fuck with the mythos and ruin the original.
I could glitch the old Game Glitches episode so it would never play again. Glitch!
That's it. You glitch the old episode and that'll retroactively reset the mythos so that you can... Okay, fuck the explanation. Let's go.
Let's glitch some fucking games!
Get over here. Take this controller. Play this game.
And here we've got Spider-Man. We're trapped in a crate. We're trapped in a box.
You can't even get out of that one. You gotta reset the game.
Look what I did. I stuck this dumb fuck in a truck.
Traffic jam.
More like a graphic jam. Whoa, what is going on there?
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. My hands are back here and I'm floating, and I'm not touching you. Can't be mad.
Let's play Miles Morales because they didn't patch the glitches in that one.
Oh, look at that. He's like silly putty picking up all the print from the newspaper.
This is the most awesome glitch I have ever seen, and who knows how exactly it works, but his suit is somehow picking up textures from the graphics around him, even when it's something you didn't even touch or come near. What is the logic? No one can explain, but Gremlin, you've really outdone yourself with this one. You'd think this is a feature in the game. Unlock all the suits. I like the silver medal one. Kind of reminds me of Michael Jackson.
Don't you know I'm glitching? I'm glitching! You know it! You know! Oh, now this game should be rated as MA because he's got a bush on his bush.
Oh my God, he's got ears on his nipples.
And if you ever wanted eyeballs on your testicles, look no further and see a scrotum where your eyelids should be.
Oh shit, is that a keypad on his ass?
It'll give a new meaning to the phrase butt dial. Glitch!
Oh!
Glitch! You're gonna get my every glitches!
Woohoo!
Ha! We did it, nerd! We did it! I was happy to be of service to you. Anytime you need some glitches, you know who to ask.
Thanks, Gremlin. I'll see you around.
I'll be going now. Awkwardly, I'm just gonna awkwardly walk away because the episode's over.
What is this and how did it get here? Oh. That's nice of them. The PS2 Holiday 2004 demo disc. Perfect timing for the 20th anniversary.
Why don't you play it?
Yeah, nerd, why don't you give it a try?
Alright, I guess I will.
You have that memory card in there, you know, the one that has Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's got that saved on there. It's got Grand Theft Auto San Andreas saved on there too. Bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you must have put a lot of hours into those games, nerd.
It's an awful lot of time to invest in something. It would be a shame for something to happen to it.
Okay, whatever, let's try this out. So, it's just a sampler of a bunch of PS2 games.
Make sure you play Beautiful Joe 2.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alright, sure. Beautiful Joe 2. I mean, it's a fun game. Yeah, it's just side-scroller, action, movie-themed. Yeah, I mean, is there something I'm missing here? Okay, black screen. Alright, the game froze. What now? Is that it?
Why don't you check your memory card?
Sure. Checking the card here. Oh, you fucks! It erased the card? Oh! Yes, this is a real thing. The Beautiful 2 demo erases your memory card. Oh, that's foul. That is low. That is the best glitch you've ever had of all time. Wow. Hey, congratulations on the kid, by the way.
Thank you, nerd.
Do you know the gender yet?
We do, actually. You want to tell him?
It's a boy.
Oh, a boy. That's gonna be a son of a glitch.